And we're live. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm awesome, man. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here, man.
Thank you.
I've never had a guy come in wear his own hat and his own T-shirt. You're number one. You're the first.
I'm surprised by that, given how many podcasts you've done, but that's how I roll.
I don't know if anybody's ever come in wearing their own shirt. Jamie, any thoughts? Someone has to have. I just can't recall it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely no one has worn their own hat and their own shirt.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe Eddie's worn his own shirt, but that's a 10th Planet shirt. That doesn't totally count.
It's a shirt with my face on it, too, so.
That's a triple whammy.
Ari?
Ari?
When he got a new shirt or something? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so. Maybe. Anyway, what's going on, man? How long are you here for?
I'm all good, man. I'm in LA for 2 weeks. It's my very first time here, so I just got here 2 days ago, so just kind of soaking it in.
What's the mind fuck like? It's crazy, huh?
It's weird, man. I feel like I was driving around just in an Uber, and it feels like GTA. I think more like GTA feels like LA because that's what it's based on. But it was just kind of trippy. And,
there's levels to the game, right? The top level of the game is probably either like Singapore, Beijing, or Mexico City. In terms of Mexico City is the only thing that I've ever seen that's more chaotic than LA. But LA is it's right up there.
Yeah, I think Lagos is more chaotic.
Lagos,
Nigeria.
Oh, I've never been.
Okay.
That's more chaotic?
Yeah, and Cairo. I think they're definitely more chaotic.
Cairo, Egypt? Really?
Yeah, I found them more chaotic.
Well, Cairo, man, I would love to go to Cairo, but I am nervous about traveling to Egypt. I keep hearing two stories from people that go all the time, like Egyptologists. They say it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, don't worry about it. The worst thing you have to deal with is constant beggars. And then you hear from other people, fuck that, don't go there. It's sketchy.
Yeah, I haven't been for a long time. When I went, it was when I was a kid. But,
okay.
Yeah, but Lagos I've been to more recently, and it's certainly more hectic and chaotic than I think here is. But here it's just interesting. It's very, very, very spread out, and just seeing, just people driving everywhere, not much public transport and all that. Even compared to other cities in the U.S., it just seems like a totally different vibe, but I like it.
Yeah, there's just too many people stuffed into one area, and everyone's driving, or they're in an Uber, so someone else is driving them. So it's just constant driving.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be here, man. It's a little bit surreal, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? So what are you doing down here?
I'm doing this.
There you go.
I was on the Ruben Report yesterday, actually. I've got a whole bunch of podcast interviews. That conservative guy.
That conservative guy that got on Blaze TV. Do you know that story they wrote about him? And he responded. He's like, I'm pro-gay marriage, pro-weed legalization, pro-prison reform, pro-immigration, pro all these different things. And yet people are calling him conservative.
Well, we live in the times where everyone's saying is right-wing, so let it be so. I don't know.
Well, if you're not as progressive as humanly possible, you're alt-right.
Well, yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I've seen all sorts of titles levied onto everybody, including yourself. So
yeah.
It's,
what about you?
Interesting.
Did you get
myself?
For people who don't know, Zuby won the world championships in women's powerlifting. You identified as a woman for a brief period of time.
Yeah, 9 seconds.
To lift. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the world we live in.
Dude, that thing blew the internet up. It's crazy.
We were laughing.
Insane how far it went, man. Yeah, I know. I saw that. People...
there it is. Let's share it. P.S. I identify as a woman whilst lifting the weight. Don't be a bigot.
I think when you first talked about that, I had like 40,000 followers. It's now well over 115. And when I posted it, I had 15,000 followers. So I've gained like
102,000 followers.
Yeah, like 105,000 followers since that video.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It really does highlight how preposterous these new world rules that we have regarding gender are. But to their credit, the U.S. Powerlifting Federation, I believe that's the name of the organization, they just banned transgender women from competing.
Okay.
They
just
said,
outright,
stop.
Just flat.
There's enough of that. I think if you want to compete, I don't think there's anything wrong with transgender women competing, but I think they should compete against transgender women. Just like how we have men compete against men and we have women compete against women, let's have transgender women compete against transgender women. Let's not deny science and biology just to make people feel better and just to support some strange progressive ideology.
Yeah, I think if the goal is, that's why I think the goal is more about, it's more ideologically driven than I think it is actual inclusion driven. Because if it's just about inclusion, then you can either just have an open category like most men's categories already are. they're not actually restricted to men. It's just, the best of the best. So anyone can do this. So either that, or if there are enough athletes in whatever the given sport or competition is, then you can just have a different category. And that way everyone can be included without stepping on the feet of half the population.
That's a bold move by the men. Say anybody can be in here. Come on in. That's how it is in pool, Men can't compete in the women's division of pool, but women can compete in the men's division.
Yeah, it's the same in most sports. Most people aren't aware of that. Most people think that they have specific restrictions saying only men can do them, but that's actually quite rare.
Well, there's a lot of successful female to male athletes where females transition to males and dominate male sports.
Okay, I wasn't.
It's not true. I made it up.
Oh, okay, all right.
100% fake. It's never going to happen.
I was there trying to think of one. I was like,
people are listening and going, "What the fuck is this? What is going on?"
Have you seen this? There's a soccer player that wants to be in the NFL as a kicker because there's a video of her doing a place kick of a 55-yard field goal recently.
That's incredible. That's really far, right?
With no one coming at her or anything. It was just like in practice, but she nailed it, which is pretty far. Yes.
Well, can you tackle kickers?
They can get hit. Yeah, they're not during the actual play of the kick. They're not supposed to be touched, but for sure they're in the play of the field, so they can get fucked up. Yeah.
That's not good. That's where the problem is. Yeah. Carla, love you.
Yeah,
but stop.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Oh, by the way, I brought a couple things for you, man. Just
okay.
So that's.
Is it a Zuby T-shirt?
It's my latest album. That is a Zuby T-shirt. That one actually glows in the dark.
It glows in the dark.
It does. The
is it
Team
good
Zuby
for the
glows
environment?
in the dark. Hopefully.
Does it kill turtles?
Not that aggressively. And that's my new fitness book there as well.
Oh, you have a book.
Sure, you already know all that.
Man.
But yeah.
What is it basically? Oh, it's workout routines and.
Yeah, it's just giving people what they need to know about nutrition, training, mindset, motivation. I just wanted to keep it brief and concise. All the stuff that I think is most important that people need to know, whether they're beginners or intermediates.
Oh, this is a good-sized book to read.
Yeah, I put it out first as an ebook, but then a lot of people asked me to do physical copies, so
that's cool.
I did those just before leaving the UK, and they've essentially sold out already. So.
Nice. Congratulations on that. All you lazy fucks, get out there. This is a good book for you because it's short. You don't have to, like, people see a fat book, they're like, oh, too much work. But this is not even 100 pages. It's 86. What is it? 93 pages.
93. Boom.
So there you go.
There we go. Strong advice.
We can all benefit. What is your background athletically?
Athletically, I used to actually play rugby.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you know about my background. So I was born in the UK. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. So when I lived in Saudi, I used to play baseball and football, or what you guys would call soccer. And those were my sort of main sports. I also did swimming and a bunch of other things. And then I went to the UK for boarding school actually when I was 11 years old. And there's no baseball there, so rugby became my main sport. I started playing rugby when I was 11 years old, and I played that all the way through to university. And I got into just lifting weights and stuff when I was in my mid-teens.
I have a friend who's British, and he says that is way more common in Europe and the UK, sending kids off to boarding school.
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, with me, it was largely because I was in the American school system in Saudi Arabia. So after 5th grade, because there's a little bit of a transition between the two systems, they're quite different. So it was thought that if I'd stayed all the way up until 9th grade, then it would be a little bit difficult for me to transition into the British school system and university system. So my parents decided when I was 11, same with my older siblings, like we all went to boarding school when we were pretty young. So yeah, came back over to the UK and was kind of back and forth between the two countries for several years, and yeah, did things that way. But
was your dad in the military or something?
No, my dad's actually a medical doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a medical doctor, but he worked for a big oil company out in Saudi, so we lived there for a couple of 2 decades pretty much.
What was that like?
I enjoyed growing up in Saudi, man.
Really?
Yeah, I actually really liked it.
What was it like?
It's weird. It reminds me of LA. I'm being serious.
Why?
Yeah,
it's just
hoes?
If there are,
I wasn't ready for that. If there are, then you don't really see them. No, but just I think the heat and the way the roads are, the way it looks. Actually,
really?
Yeah, because if you live like where I lived was sort of an expat community basically, so we lived kind of in a compound. So where I lived was a little bit of a bubble, and then outside of that, you kind of got what I'd call the real Saudi. So if you go out into the city or you want to go shopping or something like that, then you're out there in the real city. So it's very, very different. It's interesting with me because my family background's originally from Nigeria, but then I was born in England. I live in England now, but I lived in Saudi Arabia for 19 years or so. So I've kind of had exposure a lot to three very different cultures and ways of doing things, and even laws and just the way society is structured and stuff like that. So I think it's given me a pretty interesting and unique perspective on quite a lot of things.
Yeah, what a broad range of culture that you've been exposed to. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Nigeria is a strange spot because I've never been, but when you look at the numbers of successful immigrants, like businessmen and people that have come over from Nigeria and how industrious they are, and then you look at how many successful Nigerian scammers there are, like, it's a wise, very clever place.
You got the email from the prince too, huh?
I didn't get it. Well, I'm sure I have. But the one I was thinking about was Jamie was telling me a story yesterday about a guy who, what did he sell? He sold a non-existent bank.
Airport.
To
a
airport.
Bank. To a bank.
That's right. He sold a non-existent airport to a bank. There's been several stories over the last couple of weeks about Nigerian scammers making big scores.
Yeah, there's one that I think closed down a Brazilian bank. That they took so much of their money that the bank had to shut down.
What is it about Nigeria? Why are they so good at that?
A lot of smart and enterprising people, and I think if that's channeled in the right way, then that's a very good thing. But I think some people,
obviously, the resources are very limited, so they're deciding to just go dark and scam people. But as a person who hasn't been a victim of this, it's quite amusing.
Yeah, I mean, if you see some of the stuff that can get pulled off, it's quite impressive.
Pull that story.
It is very much like, man.
It's actually 330 equivalent to American dollars, 330 million.
Jesus
It happened in the 90s, though. I guess the story's just now going around for whatever reason, but it happened in the 90s, which is what this says.
A con man once sold an airport that didn't exist for $330 million. Now, stop and think about that. $330 million in the 90s is probably like $600 million today or something. Fucking bananas.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that
Nigerian fraudster and con artist Emmanuel. How do you pronounce his last name? Nwude.
Nwude, maybe Nwude.
Say it again.
Nwude, I'd guess something like that.
What are you starting with a M? How are you saying it? Nwude.
With an N.
But
are you Emmanuel?
But how are you doing it?
It's an N, but the pronunciation's a little bit different.
Say it again.
Nwude.
It sounds to me like you're saying Mude.
No, it's an N.
Go ahead again. I'm gonna close my eyes.
Weirdly enough, that guy's name is 2 letters off my actual first name.
Really?
Yeah, my
tell
my
everybody
first
what your
name.
real first name is.
Nzube,
Whoa.
which is spelled Nzube. So that's actually 2 letters different.
So you just said Zuby would be a little bit more.
Yeah, Zuby's just easier.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's a cool name too. No one has that.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never heard of Zuby before. So he pulled off the 3rd largest con in history by selling a non-existent airport to a Brazilian bank for $242 million US dollars. Before Nigerian internet scams became synonymous with your original early 2000s email account, Mude, did I do it?
Yeah, close
All right,
enough.
thank you. Successfully convinced an unassuming bank manager by the name of Nelson Sakaguchi that he was selling a yet-to-be-built airport for a price of $330 million. As the former director of the Union Bank of Nigeria himself, Mude was privy to confidential information that was crucial to him pulling off his long con. Also, he knew shit about banking. Using the information, he then impersonated the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria at the time, Paul. Okay, here's another one. Paul Oguma?
Oguma.
So you wouldn't go Wooma. It's Oguma. Yeah. And connected with Sakaguchi, we need Steve Aoki to come back and help us with the Japanese name, to inform him of a mouth-watering deal. Nigeria's plan to build a brand new airport in another one, Abuja?
Abuja, yeah.
Okay.
That's the capital.
To juice it up a bit for poor Sakaguchi, Mude promised the head of the Brazilian bank a commission fee to the tune of $10 million US dollars if the deal was approved. To get it over the line, Sakaguchi paid $191 million in cash cash, as you do, and the remainder in the form of outstanding interest awaited patiently for the construction of said airport.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the kind of thing you can only pull off once, huh?
Yeah. If you can get that guy again, you're a wizard. I just saw a guy that got scammed, and there was a documentary about it. It was a television show, rather. It was really sad because he was a dude who was an older gentleman, looked like he was in his 60s, and he was convinced that there was this woman who was, his love, and she lived in Europe, and he traveled there, and he was sending her money and the whole deal, and he traveled there twice to meet her, and both times she couldn't see him. Both times.
Oh, wow.
But he still believed, and his daughter was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. This guy really believes, and you could see he had this lost look in his eye, like he really believed that there was a woman over there that was corresponding with him back and forth, and he was sending her money. He sent her a lot of money. Like, I think it was more than $100,000, if I remember correctly, and he really believed that she was going to be there for him. And then when he went over there, something came up, and she couldn't meet him, and
yeah, it's weird. With stuff like this, I always feel like in some way you kind of feel sad for the person, but in another you're kind of like, what were you thinking? Like,
how do you bounce back from that? Like, people hit some lows.
Yeah.
People hit some lows in life. How do you bounce back from thinking that there's a girl in Europe that's going to be your love and sending her $100,000 and traveling over there twice and getting duped both times, and then how do you bounce back from that?
I think the first thing you should do is not tell anybody. Like, take the L without just quietly. just take it quietly and privately, and don't tell people.
His daughter knew about it.
Okay.
So it was like, and then the camera crew. I mean, this motherfucker brought a camera crew.
Man.
I don't know why. I think the show, I very vaguely remember this, and I think it was about 10 years ago. I think the show was all about people that were getting scammed.
Okay.
And it was about why people get scammed and what is it that makes people believe ridiculous things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to romance and money, those are the two where people get greedy.
Yeah, I was literally going to say it's greed. It's greed because only greedy people can fall for some of those things. I mean, you see some of those scams and it'll come through saying, okay, I've just inherited $30 million and I need somebody in the U.S. with a U.S. bank account to help me out with this, and I'll give you a 10% cut. And, that should raise a lot of red flags for anybody who's kind of thinking with their head on straight.
That's true, but if you pay attention to televangelists, do you have those in the UK?
Not like the ones in the U.S. In the U.S., it's another level. U.S., it's another level, man.
Everything's another level over here.
Yeah, everything's bigger.
Yeah.
Including, you get those mega churches and stuff. There's probably one or two mega churches out there in the UK or in Europe in general, but not
one or two. That's it.
I don't know. I'm not even aware of any. I'm kind of hedging my bet, saying there's probably a couple, but I'm not aware of any.
How many mega churches do you think we have in America? How many do you think we just have in Texas?
Yeah,
Texas might have 1 million of them.
Yeah, because the guys who run those things, they're like, they themselves are, they themselves are celebrities, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's at least 10 because it says here's an article about the 10 largest. So
in Texas,
yeah, just in Texas.
Wow. Yeah, those things.
Joel Osteen guy, he's a fucking baller and a half. He's got private jets and mansions, and he bought a stadium. He bought a sports stadium and converted it into his gigantic
Apparently, a mega church is defined as a church with over 2,000 members.
Over 2,000.
That's a lot of
and
people giving you 10%.
At least 200 in Texas.
A lot of people, and everyone's giving 10%, or at least most of them are giving 10%, right?
Yeah,
if they're tithing correctly. How many do you think there are nationwide? Let's take a guess. How many mega churches are there in America?
So do we know how many there are in Texas? That's just 10 biggest in Texas?
So there's at least 200 in Texas.
200 oh, wow. 200 in Texas.
200 fucking people ripping people off.
200. If there's 200 in Texas, wow.
I'm going to say 3,000 nationwide. That's what I'm going to say.
You're going to say 3,000?
3,000 mega churches nationwide.
Yeah, I'd approximate around that. I'd approximate around that.
What do you think, Jamie? You got your hand on Google, though. Don't be cheating.
No, too late. I'm already got answers.
Because I'd imagine some states don't have any.
What did you think it was going to be, Jamie?
A couple hundred, 500.
But there's the
less. I was going to say less than that even. I don't know. I didn't think there was that many. That's somewhere in the range of Well, so since it's 2,000, that seems low because like I went to Catholic church and there's more than 2,000 people at some of those churches. So.
Right, but they're saying mega churches, right?
Yeah, but it's just
If that's
more
how
than
they're
2,000
defining it,
members
yeah.
are in the church.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe they just think 2,000 scammers.
Well,
Yeah.
it says there's 1,300 such Protestant churches, but then it goes into like there's 3,000 individual Catholic parishes that have more than 2,000 people. So it gets squirrely. That's what I was saying. I think
Several
maybe we'll have to go with
thousand.
like the big
Well,
building kind of
I
place.
think there are large churches that are legitimate.
Yeah.
Like they're really following the Christian doctrine and they're really holding real services and they're really wanting good for people.
Yeah.
And then there's those dudes that have the super expensive tailored suits
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
driving around in Rolls Royces.
Prosperity gospel, they call it.
Ah.
Prosperity gospel. If you give, then you will get. See what I have, you will get what I have.
Yes.
If you bring me your money. Yeah,
Yes.
it's I've got.
The flying
Oh
pastor.
wow! Oh
Wait.
you haven't seen this guy?
I just missed
Wait.
I just missed something there.
Mississippi pastor dubbed the flying pastor glides into Christmas service. He's gliding in with an angel outfit on. Please rewind. I
He
want to
does
see the
it a lot.
beginning.
He does it a lot.
Oh my God, this is so crazy.
is-
He's got an outfit on and he's flying from the sky. Oh my God, that's his
Wow.
move. That's a good move. Okay, because now everybody knows about this move. Oh, he's bringing chicks in.
Well,
there.
they're
Oh, that's
showing you how
Beyonce.
Is that
Beyonce
Beyonce?
does it,
Yeah,
too.
I was
It's the
gonna
same
say.
thing she uses.
Is that Beyonce spinning around?
Yeah.
You know, Pink had one of them goddamn things. No, she didn't. She was doing aerial, those
Similar.
silk things,
Yeah,
and
similar.
she fell.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, wow.
fucked herself up really bad. Like she had like internal bleeding and
Oh, no.
fluid in her lungs. Yeah, it was bad.
Wow. Yeah, no, these mega churches thing. Like, I think a church, like you said, with a congregation of over 2,000 people, if they're sticking to the script and doing what they're meant to be doing and not trying to
Yeah,
fleece their congregation, then absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's the ones who use their position of power and their cult of personality to then just enrich themselves at the expense of their congregation. Those are the people I think God's going to be having a serious word with.
God's going to be very mad at them.
I don't think
but
he's gonna be pleased.
It's interesting that they, like the Nigerian scammers, they're just playing off of weak minds. They've just tapped into this group of humans that's gullible and believes nonsense, and they know how to pull those strings.
Yeah, I think it's like I say, when I say I think God is going to be having a word with those people, I mean that. I mean that very seriously, because I think it's one thing ripping people off or doing some kind of scam or deception or something. It's another one using the power of religion to do so, where you know that this is what these people believe and you're in this position of power and you're now just using that authority to, buy yourself new Bentleys. And I mean, wasn't there one where, what's that guy's name? Is it Creflo Dollar?
What did he do?
Well, I think he had a G4.
He wanted a G5?
And he did basically like a crowdfunding appeal to his congregation, saying that his current private jet is the old model and he needs the new model, and he crowdfunded, I think, to get the G. I saw this thing, I was just like, oh my gosh!
If you're shameless and you're famous, like I bet Taylor Swift could crowdfund a private jet. As ridiculous as it sounds.
Probably.
If you just were shameless.
Yeah.
If you just like, I don't give a fuck. I need a private jet. I want y'all to buy it for me. Here's the link.
I think that's shameless, but to say you're going to do this and you're going to go to heaven because you did this, that's
Did Creflo
an
Dollar
extra.
say that you're going to go to heaven if you hook him
Well,
up?
his whole thing's the prosperity gospel. So I'm sure there was something in that, be generous now and you'll be rewarded later.
There it is. Creflo Dollar would get $70 million Gulfstream G650.
Yeah, that's not right, man.
Whoa.
That's-
So somehow or another, he crowdfunded $70 million. Is that real? Did he really get that much money? That is a lot of money for a jet. Why do they cost so much? They're made out of metal. What are they made out of? What's going on in there that's so much money? How is that $70 million? Like, if that was a car, right,
Yeah.
the same shape, you'd be like, well, it's a nice car.
It's in the air.
It
Right.
flies. It does fly.
I get it.
I mean, nothing
how
goes
much-
in the fucking air.
I understand, but how much different is it?
It's a lot.
I don't
Is
know.
it?
It safely goes in the air.
Right. But how much different is it
Fast.
to build it?
Very fast.
Right. It's definitely different. But how much different? Because if a car was that big, If a car was that big, it was the dopest car ever. Like if a Bentley made a bus, let's just say it was $1 million. If they right?
I think the new Bugatti's like $12 million, something like that.
Yeah, but that's a different kind of animal, right? Because that, first of all, that shouldn't be $12 million. They're fucking people right in their assholes. But also, they broke world records. Like the new Bugatti hit 304 miles an hour, which is insane. That is insane how fast that is. I personally don't like them. I don't like the way they look. I think they look kind of gross.
Here's a difference. I was just thinking, if you bought that Bugatti, you get to drive it. You buy this plane, you don't get to fly it.
That's true, unless you take the lessons.
Well,
why would you want to?
If you're gonna, I think if you're gonna spend $70 million on a plane, I don't think you should be the one flying it. I think you should have some staff.
Asking price $67,950,000. Whoa!
That's the stage where they just round it up to 70.
What does it say? Total hours 1,616.
Yeah, you don't want a used up
total
plane.
landings. Oh, so this is
Flight
a
hours.
used one.
They're all used. Yeah.
What?
They don't make lots of new ones.
What?
They get passed around and
It was made December 16th, 2014.
Yeah.
That's a 5-year-old jet, and it's still 67.9.
Just want to make sure the interior's clean.
Total landing 625.
Go over that fucking thing with one of those blue lights. What is it? A black light? Oh my god, just splatters of jizz all over the steering. You get Dan Bilzerian's jet.
Oh man,
there's coke in between the seats and just cum everywhere.
Oh jeez.
Dan's beard hairs everywhere you go. You're picking up beard hairs.
Definitely make sure a pastor gets that one.
Yeah, I mean. What's the building cost of making a jet like that? It's amazing that they retain their value too.
If a yacht is way more, or super yachts, like hundreds of millions of dollars, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know some guys, the Fertittas, that own the UFC. They have some preposterous yacht. I saw Steve Jobs' yacht after he was dead in Italy. It was on the road in Italy, and the guy I was with pointed it out to me. And it looks like an Apple store. Looks like a floating Apple store. Want to see it?
Venus?
Is that it?
If it was called
Let me
Venus.
see.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Look at that.
Oh,
It's
wow.
goddamn floating Apple store. Doesn't it look like a floating Apple store?
Yeah, it looks weird.
And the back is weird. It's all got everything is run with IMAX. That's how it looks. And if you look like in the back windows, it's like everything. It really seems like an Apple store, and everything is run with IMAX. So those IMAX screens are all over the place.
Interesting.
Yeah, Google needs to step it up, develop an Android boat.
Android boat.
It's a cool looking boat, but
Yeah.
how much did that fucking thing cost? That had to cost $500 million or something ridiculous. Probably. Yeah.
Hey.
You got to step up your game, Zuby.
Yeah, man.
100 million
100 million.
pounds cost more
Euros.
than 100 million.
Yeah.
Oh, euros? Is that
Euros. Yeah.
What is euros to pounds? It's almost double.
It's almost the same.
Oh, really?
Almost parity now. Yeah.
What is pounds almost double? Well, it all changes, right?
Yeah, euro and pounds are almost 1-to-1 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like 1.03 or something.
It used to
euros
be
the pound.
awesome to go to Canada because if you go to Canada, your money would go way further because the United States dollar was stronger.
Last time I came to the States, it was 2-to-1 pound. Like for every $100 was 50 pounds last time I came.
Really?
And now it's like 50 pounds is like $60 now.
Well,
So
you guys fucked up. You
that Brexit.
got too successful over there.
The pound's taken a beating over the last couple of years.
Is it weird, the whole Brexit thing over there?
For people who are really into it, I don't follow it that hard. I'm kind of just bored of it. I'm just kind of just do something. Just make your decision. And the decision should have already been made 3 years ago, but just execute it. Like, let's go. Let's get out of here.
What's the general consensus of like your friends and people that you hang out with over there?
People I hang out with. Those who live in London are primarily on the Remain side. Those who live outside of London primarily on the Leave side.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's an urban thing like
It
the
is.
United States.
Yeah, very much so.
So like the cities are anti-Trump, and the farm areas. Are like, "Go
so
get 'em."
if you imagine like London and the southeast are more equivalent to kind of like the coastal cities and Pacific Northwest of the U.S. in terms of being far more liberal in general, and being more pro-EU and pro-Remain, whereas if you go outside of that, if you go up north or to the Midlands or anything like that, then People are, I guess both more conservative, I guess, in a way, and also a lot more anti-EU in general sentiment. So a lot of the people in London and around London were totally blindsided by the Brexit vote, in the same way that a lot of people, I imagine, live in Los Angeles and New York were blindsided by the Trump presidency.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the girl with the sock hat on, the glasses on her knees?
Yeah,
Everybody's seen her.
Yeah, I watch that when I'm feeling a little down. And I watch the Trump reaction video.
That seems to sort of embody the beginning of the chaos that has ensued. Because things were kind of squirrely before Trump was elected, but now they're just off the reservation.
Yeah, well, that's part of how he got elected. I mean, I remember in 2015, before he even won the Republican nomination, and I was talking to people, both friends and family, and saying, I think he has a good chance of winning. And people were looking at me like I was smoking something.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed I didn't put any money on it, because at the time...
Was there gambling, online gambling for it?
Yeah, I think at the time I first said it, I think it was... I want to say like 40 to 1 or 50 to 1 or something ridiculous like that.
I called it on my Netflix special.
Really?
People were saying, get the fuck out of here. You're crazy. I'm like, we are that close to President Trump. And they're like,
yeah. Well, you travel the country, right? So
yes.
I think your perspective is going to be a lot more balanced and actually accurate than
well, also,
a lot of people who don't.
Realize the problems with Hillary. Like, I think that if they had gone with Bernie Sanders could have really won. I really think he could have won. He could have beaten Trump.
Yeah.
I don't think Hillary is ever going to win. She's got too many skeletons. There's too many things you can point to. There's too much madness.
Too much smoke.
Yeah, there's way too much.
Yeah.
Way. Yeah. Just way too much.
Yeah, it's been going on like most of my life too.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like, this isn't a new person. She's been involved in this thing for decades.
Yeah, and then when the actual DNC was rigging the primaries against Bernie, and Donna Brazile wrote about it in her book, and you go, like, this is a dirty organization. It's dirty.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the thing people always forget with Trump is people are always, how did he win, or why did he win, or what? And it's like, you also have to consider, like, there's all the factors in his favor, but there's also, I mean, who he was running against.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. So people are acting as if the alternative was so much better or something, and I'm like,
they fucked up.
But it wasn't. So
they fucked up. Bernie could have won. I really think he could have won.
It would have certainly been more interesting, because I know a lot of the Bernie people went over to Trump, right?
Yeah, and as time goes on, one of the things that I've been noticing, and I watched a David Pakman video the other day, where David Pakman was pointing out Trump slurring his speech. And I had no idea it was that bad.
Oh, really?
I haven't seen it. I hadn't seen it. There was one time where he literally like he's fighting through, like, say if someone put you on paid medication, they said, hey, Zuby, you got to make a phone call.
Yeah.
This is really important. You're going to talk to a bank. He'd be like, yes, that is me. Have you ever, God bless America. Like, have you ever seen the video of him slurring?
I haven't. No.
Dude.
And it's not edited or anything?
No. He has a really hard time saying God bless America. Okay. And Pakman pointed out, it looks like he's like wrestling with his tongue. There's something wrong.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, when I see him, I mean, that guy's got some crazy energy. How old is he? 73? 73.
Yeah.
That guy's got energy, man.
Yeah, it's called pills. It's medicated.
That guy's got some energy.
You could fucking hop your grandma up on fucking speed too. She'd have all kinds of shit to say. Look, it's legal. You can get a doctor. Doc, I'm suffering. I've got fatigue. I have chronic fatigue. And the doctor will go, well, good thing for you. We've got a thing called Adderall. And next thing you know, it's something, man.
Yeah.
It's something. I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast too much. I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah.
But I really do believe that he's on something.
Some kind of stimulant.
Yeah, he's been on something in the past. There was allegedly a pharmacy in New York that was prescribing him diet pills for years. And some journalist uncovered the whole thing. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Look, I know a lot of people on it, man. Some of them that are functional, some of them that are off the fucking charts crazy because of it.
Is this the video?
Yeah, this is the video, but just play the one where you see him slurring his words. Yeah, back up a little bit. Right there. Play that. Listen to this.
Our hearts and minds to possible and possibilities. And finally, I ask the leaders of the region, political and religious, Israeli and Palestinian, Jewish and Christian and Muslim, to join us in the noble quest for lasting peace. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the Palestinians. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
Oh, those last couple words, yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
That is, listen to you.
Yeah.
Now listen to him.
Yeah.
Listen to you. Now listen to him. That's a guy who's hopped up on something.
Yeah,
he's
maybe-
either hopped up on something or he's dying.
Could have been drinking.
He's having, nah, he doesn't drink.
Oh, he doesn't drink, does he?
No.
No. That's cool.
Drinking gets in the way of pills, bro. You don't want to slow down the pills. You're here for progress. We're here to complete tasks and set goals and conquer and make
Yeah.
America great again.
MAGA.
The way he was campaigning with the amount of energy that dude had, I mean, you got to assume for a 70-year-old man, they got him medicated on some shit.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
They've
Wouldn't
always
surprise me.
medicated people.
Yeah.
We were talking about, who the fuck was it that told us about Hitler? Hitler with the,
I don't remember who brought it up first, but it's been like 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Maybe 4, I don't know.
Hitler, when he went to meet Mussolini, he was apparently super exhausted, so they pumped him up with steroids and
Oh,
liquid
really?
cocaine. They
Liquid
injected
cocaine?
Him, they injected him with steroids and cocaine, and then he liked it so much he asked for a second dose, and they thought it was going to kill him, and he said, "Give it to me!" And then he went to visit Mussolini and apparently chewed Mussolini's ear off for 5 hours. Mussolini was apparently thinking about getting out of the war, and Hitler talked him out of it. Just fucking spitting coke talk at him.
Steroids and liquid cocaine. That's the worst thing you can give to that guy.
That's a fucking Ric Flair
Good
right there.
grief, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done that to people forever. Apparently, that was the case with Kennedy. Kennedy, they would shoot him up with amphetamines.
Really?
Yeah. See if you can find that.
What, just to keep his energy levels up?
Kennedy was very sick,
Okay.
apparently, before he died, and he had severe back pains.
Okay.
Like he was really banged up, and he had some sort of a disease. I don't remember what the disease was, but during much of his presidency, they would put him on amphetamines to keep him active. They didn't think about the consequences of those things back then. I don't think they truly understood addiction back then. I don't think they truly understood like the way it affects your decision-making process.
Yeah. Well, that's back when they used to just, advertise heroin in the newspaper and stuff as a sort of general
They didn't do that
painkiller
in the
and stuff.
60s.
Not in this. When was that? When was that?
That was
what
a
decade was that?
long
When they used to
time
just
ago.
you'd look in
Yeah.
the papers and they just have like such and such heroin, like take this, and when they used to give women tapeworm eggs as diet pills and
Did they
all that
really?
crazy. Yeah, those were the original diet pills, right? They used to give women
my God.
tapeworm eggs. So that you ingest it, and then obviously the tapeworm grows inside of you and eats all the food, and you lose weight.
We have so much to talk about. Let's find out about Kenny first.
So we've heard of Dr. Feelgood. That's who his doctor was. Dr. Max Jacobson was injecting him and his wife and a list of other people.
I thought it was a Motley Crue song. Okay, Dr. Jacobs. Oh my God. Here we go. What does it say here? Scroll it up a little bit. The most famous doctor patients were President and Mrs. Kennedy. Dr. Jacobson frequently visited the White House and often traveled with the Kennedys. In 1961, for example, he went with the president to Vienna for a summit meeting with Khrushchev, and Dr. Jacobson said in an interview, gave the president injections there. In addition to the Kennedys, other persons who are patients of the doctor included Truman Capote, Cecil B. DeMille, Eddie Fisher, Alan J. Lerner, I don't know who that is, Representative Claude Pepper of Florida, blah, 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 a bunch of other politicians, and Tennessee Williams, wow, included among a number of other prominent patients of Dr. Jacobson have been a bunch of other famous people, blah, 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 blah. An extensive inquiry also turned up the names of well over 100 others in ranking positions in government, journalism, finance, industry, society, and several entertainment fields who are said to be patients of Dr. Jacobson, but who could not be confirmed as such. What does it say about it? Okay, it cannot be said with certainty that the Kennedys, or, with a few exceptions, any other specific patient received amphetamine. It is known, however, that Dr. Jacobson uses unusually large amounts of amphetamine in his practice. The doctor's office reported that Dr. Jacobson buys amphetamine at the rate of 80 grams a month. That is enough to make 100 fairly strong doses of 25 milligrams every day. So he's got 100 people taking hardcore doses of amphetamines every day. 25 milligrams apparently They're saying it's a big dose. I don't know
That's
what
a lot. I mean,
is it a lot?
Like if you just take an Adderall, it's usually like 10 to 20 max. Sometimes people that are crazy get 40.
25. You're fucking grinding enamel.
That's injected too.
Woo! Right to the source. Fuck stomach acids. Get it in
Wow.
the blood, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's been going on forever.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Well, I mean, it's about energy, right? Like, look at poor fucking Joe Biden, that poor bastard. You been paying attention to him?
A little bit, yeah.
he's bleeding from the eyes
Yeah. Oh, I saw that.
on TV. His
Yeah.
eyes just start bleeding.
Yeah.
Seems
How old
fine.
is he?
A million. He's a million years old. He's only like 78 or some shit. He's not
Yeah,
that
he's
much
a couple
older
years
than...
older than Trump.
78 is too old to be
It is
president,
too
man.
old.
It's too old.
If you're that guy. I mean, you could be 70. Like Jack LaLanne when he was 78 looked fucking fantastic. When he was 90, he was pulling boats.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that?
I don't
Look at
think I've seen him
Biden's
pulling
eye.
boats.
Look at his eyeball.
Yeah, no, that's too old, man. You
Banned for evasive answers. Evasive answers. The guy can't see. Fucking bleeding out of his eyeballs. That's like some Hellraiser type shit.
Because if you do get into office, I mean, you age at like 4 times the normal rate or something anyway, don't
Well,
you?
he thinks he's been in office, but that's horseshit. He was a vice president.
Vice president.
The vice president is like probably the easiest job in the history of the world. The vice president is like slightly easier than hosting Fear Factor. That's what I think. You just kind of show up. Everybody else does the hard work. That fucking guy. That's barely a job. That's like the best way to go into hiding. Become vice president. Nobody gives
Yeah.
a shit about you.
Okay, unless something happens to the president, you got to step up. But
Yeah, but nothing ever happens.
yeah, it's true.
The only time it's ever happened, well, the last time was when Kennedy got shot. That was the last time, and most likely Lyndon Johnson was in on it.
Oh,
Yay! How about that? I said it.
uh-oh. I cannot confirm nor deny. I have no opinion.
Who
on
knows?
this.
Who knows who was in on it? But that guy ain't gonna win. The idea that they haven't pulled that guy aside and go, "Hey, Joe," no.
He's the front runner, though, right? As it stands.
I don't think anymore. I think Bernie and Kamala Harris are very close.
So Trump should win, really.
But because Tulsi Gabbard shut down Kamala Harris in a
Oh,
debate,
yeah.
they pushed her out of the debates. Even though on multiple polls she has enough support to be in the debates, they're excluding her from the debates because she attacked Kamala Harris, and rightly so, and accurately.
I think
you
she's
know-
on the wrong. I think she's on the wrong side. I think she's in the wrong party.
Think she should be a Republican?
I do, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why? She has all these democratic ideas, though.
Yeah, that's true. But given the way the Democratic Party is going now, I think she's far too sensible for them.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think they'll come around.
Maybe
If
so.
she doesn't win this term, she will be president someday, I think.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah,
She's-
I watched your watched and listened to your podcast with her, so that was interesting. I've seen a few. I saw that one. I saw the Andrew Yang one as well. And
I think it would be awesome if we had a legitimate badass woman president. I think she's the one. I think she
yeah,
can do it.
I think it'll certainly happen eventually, no question. I don't know next time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like to make public predictions. I do think if things keep going the way they will, I do think Trump will take it fairly easily. If things
If they
don't
let it
change,
if they
but
let
I
Joe
don't know.
Biden get to the front, Trump's going to win.
Yeah, Trump will lead him.
Yeah, he'll chew him up. Calls him Sleepy Joe. Trump will be grinding his teeth and fucking spitting out fillings. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking A, man. And Trump is a funny guy. He says funny shit.
He is funny.
He knows how to shut people down. Did you see the thing that he did, though, with the hurricane map?
I didn't know.
He was telling people that the hurricane was headed to Alabama. They're like, Mr. President, there's no indication that the hurricane is headed to Alabama. So he posts a map with the hurricane path with a Sharpie that draws Alabama also in the path of the map. Bro, it's so...
The one I loved was
Look at this. Like, you see the path of the hurricane, and then there's a Sharpie drawn around it.
okay.
See, this is the original. Go, and then you see the left, that Sharpie drawing?
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody drew that. And
Oh.
what was the exact wording that you used today?
I saw on the news they were saying that like White House officials wouldn't deny that he didn't do it or something like that.
They wouldn't deny that he did or didn't do it. So no one's saying the president definitely did not draw that. He probably was like, give me the map. Oh, here, we'll just put it here. Just draw, where's Alabama? That one? Okay.
Add it in.
Just add it in.
Yeah, that guy's funny, man. The thing with the Trump Tower on Greenland, that was amazing.
Yeah, that
was
actually
freaking
was
funny.
funny, that tweet.
That was very funny.
But it's, he's, and then you guys have your own Trump. That fucking dude, what's his name? Boris?
Boris Johnson,
He
the new
looks like
prime
Trump.
minister.
He looks like Trump. It's crazy. He's got the crazy hair.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and he's a pro-Brexit guy, right?
Yeah, he was one of the key leaders of the Brexit campaign.
What is happening?
Well, backlash, man. Backlash.
Is that
I mean,
what it is from political
I
correctness?
understand it completely. I mean, yeah, a lot of it. Like, there are a lot of different factors, but that's a pretty key one. And just, you know, the condescension from people in certain cities about the rest of the country or all the other cities. I mean, you see that it's the same thing in the US and in the UK, like I was saying. I mean, when you've got people even just referring to all of Middle America as what they call flyover country,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you can't say that and then
The thing
expect
is,
those people to vote for you.
it's
man.
not even just that. It's expanded even further, and the best evidence is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's recent Sticks and Stones Netflix documentary,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, Rotten Tomatoes thought it would be a good idea to only have it reviewed by 5 super progressive critics, only critics. They closed it off to the public.
Yeah.
It had got 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They then opened it to the public, and it got 99%.
Of course.
If that doesn't show a crazy disparity between, first of all, the idea that you're going to suppress it, like you're going to say it's 0%, so no one's going to watch it, and we're going to shut Dave Chappelle down. He's canceled. Fuck him. But people love him.
You can't cancel someone who doesn't care, man.
Well, you can't cancel Dave Chappelle.
No, you can't.
But on top of that, how would they not understand that someone is going to know that you're not opening it up to the public?
Yeah.
And that once it does get open to the public, you're going to get a massive whiplash, a backlash, where people are going to come, and even if they didn't want to vote on it, now they do.
Yeah.
And now they're going to give it 100% or 99%.
I knew I had to watch it when I saw how all the many of the media channels that I really dislike and do not respect were coming so hard at it and saying, oh, no, you don't need to watch it and all this. I was like, oh, this means I absolutely have to watch it. The Guardian in the UK gave it 1 star. And then I saw Vice saying, like, don't watch it. Vox saying don't watch it. I was like, okay, this means that I have to watch this. This is going to be good.
Well,
and I wasn't disappointed.
The influence of a relatively small group of human beings that are in charge of these media conglomerates it's really astounding, and that it's not just opinion, right? It's like they're trying to get people to behave and think the way they do. It's not
activism.
just yes, it is activism,
Yeah.
and it's also undisguised activism. It's very transparent activism. It's in opposed to journalism. I really wish there was a place where we could go, where we can get 100% unbiased information and news.
Yeah.
And we can get an honest perspective of both sides. This side believes this, and this is why they believe that, but this side believes that, and this is why they believe that. It's very hard to do. And if you have a podcast, one of the things that's really interesting is if you even talk to someone who has an opposing point of view of yours, or who is right-wing, or who maybe has some questionable ideas, you are somehow platforming them and supporting their idea, and then supporting some alt-right ideology, and there's no room anymore for people to have conversations with people with differing opinions and just find out why they
there
think.
There is. It's right here.
Yeah.
You've literally created it, man. Seriously, you and a handful of other people have created this.
Well, it'd be
And-
nice if I could go somewhere.
What's that?
If I could go somewhere and
Oh,
read
okay.
things. I mean, it's nice that I'm doing it, but you got to
Yeah.
trust me. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm not the guy to be distributing information. I'm certainly not the guy to be analyzing things.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. Okay, I have too many other jobs. I got 3 kids. I got 3 jobs. I got a lot of hobbies. You know, I'm fucking busy. All right, I'm not the guy to go to that's going to give you an in-depth, comprehensive analysis about the way the world works.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
But what I am is someone who's interested in talking to people. What they should have is someone who has I don't want to say my sensibilities, but my willingness to communicate with almost anybody.
Yeah.
And then also someone who does real exhaustive research on the actual facts behind all these critical issues that are going to affect everybody. I don't see that anywhere.
Well, you're certainly not going to find it on television. just because the format just doesn't allow for that. You've got the time pressure, the advertising, all that. It just simply doesn't allow for it. And then in, the way newspapers and journalism is going, I mean, the stuff that's been paying is the clickbaity sort of stuff, the stuff that gets people outraged, stuff that gets people fired up, highly partisan stuff. It's, being sensible is not in the old media, that's not what seems to be profitable.
I know, but is that everything? Is profitability anything? I mean, where's real journalism?
Yeah.
Because I feel for real journalists, because I do think that they are fighting for their lives in terms of this world. Like, nobody, I subscribe to a few different things. I subscribe to the Washington Post and the New York Times and a few other periodicals online where I pay money to read their stuff online because I think they have valuable contributions. I don't think many people are doing that. There's so much free shit. Vox is free. All these other places are free. And so if you're only going with free shit, you're only going to get biased stuff. And you're also only going to get stories that are commercially viable to the people that are making it. And why would they be commercially viable? Well, they got to be clickbaity. That's the only way you get people to pay attention to shit these days.
And I think that's already starting to stop working.
You think so?
The clickbaity stuff, yeah. I don't know if you remember, think back a couple years ago where, I don't know, you'd go on Facebook and you'd get all these kind of like BuzzFeed things, and you had all these new media companies that sprung up and sort of took advantage of the clickbait era. But people have become quite wise to that now, I think. And people are starting to realize, I mean, I think if you went back even a decade, I don't think most people thought that the media in general was particularly biased. Maybe they would have thought, okay, maybe that one, but not just generally. Now, I think if you were to survey people, like a lot of people understand that even the ones that are supposed to be impartial, things like CNN, things like the New York Times, especially when it comes to the opinion pieces, people know that those things are not just giving it to you straight. They know you're getting some spin. Some cases you're getting it from a totally partisan angle. And I think if people are upfront with that, if they're like, look, we're a conservative news outlet, look, we're a liberal left-wing news outlet, and that's the filter everything is coming through, if they're upfront about that, then, I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, that's fine. But if people claim to be unbiased or claim to be totally impartial and just bring you the facts without putting too much opinion or spin on it, and then you can kind of see through that and see that's what they're doing. And they may not even know that they're doing it, right? Because so many people get stuck in these echo chambers. So I don't think all of it is necessarily on purpose. But that's just how it is. And I think the vibe I'm certainly getting, I know with myself and with other people and listening to what people are saying, is people are starting to notice it a lot more. I know you've talked a lot about the online tech censorship and bias and stuff like that, which is another thing that, again, I think if you went back 10 years ago, I don't think people thought that Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or any of these things were biased. Whereas now in 2019, it's like, okay, you've got enough examples to see, okay, they're deplatforming a lot of people of certain political persuasions. And then you've got other people who are outright calling for violence or just saying like crazy stuff or threatening people, and they're fine. They're turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
And it's just in your face, and it's kind of like, well, this isn't me being a conspiracy theorist. It's just, look, they've taken off that person, but all these people are still there. So these rules are not being applied fairly.
That's certainly the case, and it's also certainly the case that they're trying to manage this stuff at scale, right? So they're trying to manage, like, one of the things that I got from communicating with Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter, is that...
You saw when he got hacked?
Yes. When the head of Twitter gets hacked, you're like, damn.
Oh, that was
Apparently
weird.
They used a very simple way to do it, SMS text, because they used to have a system where you could send texts through, to Twitter through text messages, and they hacked it that way.
Yeah, that was so weird. I was on Twitter when it happened. I was like scrolling through my feed. I was like,
what?
Oh, wait. I was like, wait, what's going on here? And it was
Part of it is fun, right? Isn't it fun when someone like Jack gets hacked? When someone like Jack gets hacked, it's like, wait a minute. The guy who's the fucking head of Twitter, who's been at the helm of this controversy when it comes to censorship, got hacked.
Yeah. And his pinned tweet is something about how Twitter wants to open up conversations. And it was like, it's something very, very positive.
Yes.
And then underneath it was just like, Whoa.
I think
Spicy.
he really does want to open up conversations,
Yeah.
and he really does believe that blockchain is eventually going to have virtually every conversation that everyone has ever had ever available for everyone online, and that the idea of censorship is going to be preposterous in the future. And I think he's right, and I think that's one of the reasons why his own personal philosophy is that Twitter should essentially be a town hall. And this is what he and I. Is when we got into it, particularly with Tim Pool and Vidya, when we talked about it, his philosophy, his personal philosophy, is that Twitter should be available to anyone to communicate their ideas, and that it should operate much like the First Amendment. So, the only thing you can't do is call for violence and dox people and things like that.
Are they going to bring people back then? They should.
I told him he should.
They
I
should.
said they should, and then he said that there was an idea of a Wild West Twitter. Like you'd have two Twitters. You'd have a curated Twitter, and then you'd have a anything goes Twitter.
Yeah, Gab
You
Twitter.
bring back Alex Jones and whoever the fuck else has been banned. Who's
Quite a few people.
Yeah, but the big ones.
Laura Loomer,
Yeah, all them.
Megan Murphy.
Yeah, Megan Murphy's a ridiculous one.
Yeah, she's been on my podcast.
I want to get her on.
Yeah.
We've talked about having her on. I hope eventually I can. If people don't know what happened, she got banned from. She is what's called a TERF, which is a trans exclusionary radical feminist, and a trans exclusionary. That's a weird word. Exclusionary. I don't even say it right. I say exclusionary. Exclusionary. Radical feminist is someone who thinks that trans women are not women, and so she has said, publicly that she doesn't think that trans women should be in feminist spaces, communicating as women. And so she got into it on Twitter with someone, and she said, "But a man is never a woman." And
Lifetime ban.
Yeah, they actually told her to take that down.
Yeah.
So she took it down, but she made a screenshot of it, and then she
Reposted.
posted up the screenshot that said a man is never a woman, and they gave her a lifetime ban,
Yeah.
which is goddamn hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I don't get the lifetime. Oh, we were talking about big people. Milo as well, of course.
Milo
got taken off several years ago.
See, they wouldn't tell me exactly why Milo got taken off. They said that Milo had harassed Leslie Jones, but he hadn't. He made fun of her. But apparently there were some allegations that there was many accounts other than Milo's connected to Milo that Milo was operating. This was the allegation. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
And that this is one of the reasons why they had made the decision. But that might not be the case.
Yeah.
That might be the case with someone saying, hey, we suspect that these other accounts are also run by Milo. So it's because they wouldn't say it on the podcast.
Yeah. Thing is, look, even if someone did get banned for genuinely violating some terms of service, the idea of a lifetime ban.
For life!
I mean,
Forever. You're 90? Fuck off. You're still banned.
that's insane. I mean, you can be you'll have literally convicted hardcore criminals on there who can have Twitter accounts and stuff. But it's like, okay, you said something that someone didn't like. I mean,
Gavin McInnes is another one.
Yeah, Gavin McInnes. Yeah. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
There are quite a few now.
The problem is when you ban these people the way they've done, it radicalizes people in opposition.
Absolutely.
And it also, look, here's the reality, man. Twitter's a terrible way to communicate. It's fucking terrible. Limited amount of text. Text is a terrible way to communicate.
True.
I mean, we were just talking, Jamie and I were talking yesterday about disagreements that people have had that we know through emails. Like that emails, like someone reads it wrong and then someone sends you a message, hey, this guy is disrespecting me. And then you go and read it and you go, what is going on here, man? Because people read into text. They just decide that things in text mean certain things.
Yeah.
They might not really be accurate.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem. And I think that the method of communication through Twitter is just a terrible method. Twitter is good for letting people know you got things coming up. Like, hey, I got an album out.
Yep.
Bang.
Perseverance.
Right there. Perseverance. Zuby. Twitter's good for, I love it for posting science stories.
Okay, yeah.
And interesting stories.
Twitter's amazing. Twitter's the best social media platform by a mile.
I don't interact with people anymore. I don't even read it.
I don't blame you.
I send things to the world that I think are interesting, and I hope people enjoy it. I genuinely, I don't bash anybody on Twitter. I don't attack anybody on Twitter. I've had opportunities where someone's informed me of something that someone else has said, and I'm like, that's not even true.
People say wild stuff about you, man.
It's interesting.
People say some wild stuff about you, just generally. But, you know, I think when it comes to communication, the further you move away from face-to-face, real-world communication, the further you abstract away from it, the worse the communication method is, and the easier it is to, I mean, because you lose so much.
Yes. And the easier it is to intentionally distort.
It is. And, you know, you lose. So a phone call, I mean, real life is the best. And then second to that, probably a video chat. After that, a phone call.
Yes.
After that, a text. After that, a tweet. And the further you abstract away from it, you just lose more and more of the actual communication, because you can't read any body language now. There's no intonation in the words. You can't tell. I could say something now and it's like, you know, you say something with a smile on your face. Oh, it's Joe's joking. But if you tweet those exact same words, one person will read it and be like, okay, I think he's joking. I think he tweeted that with a smile on his face. Right. Someone else is like, no, that's dead serious. Like that's something crazy he's saying there, and nobody really knows. And then because it's all public, I mean, it's Twitter's weird because there's not. It's like just going into a room and just full of people and just shouting something.
Yes.
It's not like a forum where it's like, okay, this is the topic. We're talking about this right now. Twitter's just like, this is what I think about anything. And you just throw it out there, and then you wait for people to come back with stuff.
You know, what's interesting is when someone tries to establish a narrative about themselves on Twitter. Like, hey, listen, as a happily married man who's a Christian, or this and that. Like, wait, whoa. Who are you talking to? Are you shouting this out to the? Are you trying to describe yourself for people so people have a certain way of viewing you?
Oh yeah,
because that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
they're immediately gonna go, why are you talking like this? What kind of person says these things? What kind of person like tries to establish a narrative about them?
Well, they do it before they even talk. I mean, people do that with their Twitter bio.
Oh, yeah.
People do it with their bio. I mean, some people will put in, you know, this is my species,
my pronouns,
my location, my pronouns, my religious or non-religious views, you know, who I vote for, like all of that.
Yeah. Here's my advice, folks. If you see anybody that says they, them as their pronouns, block them. Just block them right now. No.
I've got something I'm trying to coin as Zuby's razor, which is that if someone on Twitter has their pronouns in their bio, then there's like a 95% chance that you can just
dismiss them.
Yeah, dismiss a lot of what they're saying.
Zuby's razor is a very good way of describing it. I'm going to use that from now on. I'm going to call it Zuby's razor. You know what's interesting? I noticed that you have an Android phone. What Apple did to fuck people is when someone is about to write a text, to get those dots, dot, to let you know they're typing. And then it goes away. Like, oh, they were going to type something, and then they fucking stopped. Whereas with Android, you send a text, you get a text back. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you don't know if anybody's in the middle. They could write some long, lengthy bullshit text and then wake up sober and go, oh my God, thank God I didn't send that. You know, it's like emails. You don't know whether or not someone's replying to an email. But that dot, you get that on Instagram too. If you send a DM to someone that says typing. Ooh, that's a weird one.
Gives people anxiety too.
It does.
And you can annoy people. You can just start type and then
walk away. Just start typing and go to the movies. just keep the app open and use other apps. Yeah,
it's crazy. All this social media stuff. I feel like we're just right now in the middle of sort of the biggest experiment amongst humankind that's ever taken place, and we're all guinea pigs in it. Like we have no idea what the long-term implications and repercussions of some of this stuff is going to be, but it's like we're all just in here using all these different platforms, and I mean, you can already see some of the effects.
Yeah,
it seems pretty well documented that things like depression and anxiety are going up as use of social media goes up. I mean, literally during the introduction of it with the smartphones, it's the combination of smartphones and social media.
Yeah,
I think that does it. I don't think it's not smartphones alone. It's not social media alone. Like when you had to go log in on a PC to use MySpace or Friendster or High Five or whatever, and then you go out the house and you're no longer on it. It's just the fact people are constantly carrying it around and trying to get this validation. And, you know, you've got Instagram now talking about potentially removing likes or changing,
hilarious.
YouTube removing views because they're seeing how it's affecting people and all this kind of stuff. And
that's not going to work though. This is too late. The box is open, you know. you're a grown ass man. So for you, you can handle all this shit.
Yeah.
I think the real problem is kids.
Yeah.
Kids growing up, being 13 and 14, and having Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and having anonymous people say really shitty things to them, anonymous friends or enemies at school. That's a real issue. And Jonathan Haidt wrote a great book called The Coddling of the American Mind.
Great book.
It's really good.
Great book, yeah.
And it goes into that in depth, and it really made me fucking super nervous for my kids, like growing up and developing during this time where we have this, sort of uncharted territory of social media. There's not like a lot of documented history of use, so we can go back to 100 years of people using social media, and this is the way to do it healthily, and this is the way to, there's people that are just fucking tweeting all day long.
Yeah, it's just an experiment.
All day long, and then going crazy, pulling their fucking hair out, taking pills, barely getting by in this life, and just tweeting all day long.
Yeah, it's weird. And you've got people have different, and then you've got people who just post 10 selfies a day, same picture, same face, and just...
Do they really?
Yeah, there's some... It's generally women, but there's some people's profiles you can go, and it's just, you go on their Instagram page, and it's just all just their face, same pose, and
or
multiple times
butt.
a day.
Just their butt
Or
over
that
and
too.
over and over again.
Did you see that video clip where the girl had the selfie stick, and she's trying to get a photo of her own butt with a selfie stick? She's like on a deck chair.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's hilarious. And someone took a picture of her doing it, so her ass is straight up in the air, and she's got the selfie stick up like that. Oh my God, she's trying to get that perfect ass angle.
Oh, I was like, wow, that's so 2019.
Thirsty. People are so thirsty. They want likes so badly.
Yeah, it is very weird. And then you've had people who have died because of it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, sure.
I don't
Grand
know.
Canyon. People
Yeah.
keep falling off the Grand Canyon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, falling to their death.
Yeah, people falling off buildings. There was that couple where
There she is. Bam! She doesn't even have a selfie stick.
I was not.
Still loving our generation. Who
Wow.
posted that?
Oh no, she has got the
Barstool
selfie stick.
had it up.
Barstool?
She has got the selfie stick.
Oh, she does have a selfie
Yeah.
stick. Oh, she put it on the selfie stick. Look at that dirty bitch. See, she right there. She's got her arm up, and then she's like, "Not good enough. Let's get that selfie stick out."
Oh my gosh.
God, that is so hilarious.
It's strange.
But imagine if that's your daughter. You're like, no.
It is really strange
What have I done?
because I think it's both exposed people for what they are, but it's also changed people's behavior.
Yes.
Like, people do things now that you just wouldn't. Even something as simple as taking a picture of your food.
Well, here's something that never existed before.
Yeah.
I'll show you something. This is a move that women do. Where did I put my phone? Oh my God, I lost my phone. Oh no, it's probably in my car. Oh well.
No?
Yeah, here it is. Hold on. In my purse, my man purse.
Man purse.
This is something that you see now that you never saw before. Ready? Here's the look.
Oh yeah.
That chicken neck thing that girls do. They're trying to get the right angle.
Got to get the right side.
Nobody used to do that before.
No.
Right? That's a new thing. That's
It's
a new
all
movement
new.
of the head.
Yeah. It's taking photos of yourself is a pretty new concept. I remember in
Yes.
MySpace, people used to do it in the mirror, in the bathroom and stuff like that.
Right. And that's when they first got thirsty.
Yeah.
They first started seeing six packs and nice asses, and people were like,
Yeah, it's just weird. I just wonder what the effect will be in a couple decades, to be honest with you.
Coincidentally, MySpace is also right around the time that white people started figuring out they like big asses.
Something's happened with that, hasn't there? I was talking about this with one of my friends.
Like, go back to like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I was talking about the other day. Catherine Duke. She was like one of the hottest women on the planet Earth in like 1980, and she's a beautiful lady with an ass as flat as this table. Mm-hmm. She probably never did a squat.
Yeah.
Ever. And nowadays that won't fly. You can't get by. You can't get by without a big caboose.
It's weird. It's part evolution, part diet, part I don't know.
Doctors.
Doctors.
A lot of
part
doctors,
squats.
bro.
Going to the gym has become a lot more mainstream though in general, hasn't it?
It certainly has,
It has.
but there's a lot of gals out there faking
Doing
the
stuff.
funk.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gals out there with some plastics shoved in their buttocks area. And ready for this? Dun, dun, dun. Ass cancer. There's a whole group of humans that are experiencing cancer in their ass because of ass implants.
Really?
The same kind of cancer that many women get when they get breast implants.
Oh.
It's not 100% of them, but it's relevant. Like, if there's an issue. There was an article written about it recently that women are doctors are starting to find the same types of cancer that some women get. Because, everyone's body reacts differently to everything. And there are certain risks that you take if you get some sort of an implant in your body, that your body rejects it or that it causes cancer. So women are getting cancer of their ass.
Man.
That's a rough cancer, bro. You got to go in there and scoop out chunks of your butt, and maybe you die. Maybe you die.
It's not worth it.
Because you weren't willing to do squats.
Yeah, just do squats.
That's the thing. You can do squats. It's like if a guy has a little dick, all right, and there was a machine that let you build your dick up, there would be a line around the block for that machine, all right? I mean, everybody would be on that goddamn dick machine. But women have a way to build their ass up. It is a real thing. You can do squats and deadlifts. You can run stairs. You can do squats and deadlifts, and you will get a big, firm ass.
And it works.
You're not going to get a J-Lo ass unless you got those hips.
Yeah.
That's,
Have you seen when guys do the the six-pack implants, or of course you must have seen like synthol and stuff where they inject the oil into the muscles and
swell up. Yeah.
People do weird,
crazy.
People do some really strange stuff. The six-pack one is the weirdest though.
Yeah.
Because it's just there all the time.
Yeah.
Even
like
if they
ripped.
Yeah, but it looks weird because even if they gain weight and the rest of their body is kind of flabby, you still just got. It looks like a Ninja Turtle. That's what it looks like. It's like bulging.
That's the perfect way to describe it. Oh my god.
Yeah, it looks like
fake ab implants over his keg.
It looks like a Bowser from Mario.
Show me that in a large version. Jesus Christ.
That's weird, right?
That's so crazy because that guy's fat.
It just doesn't look right.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah.
And that's definitely fake. It's not like that guy just does a shit ton of sit-ups.
No.
Because he's got a barrel chest, but he doesn't have any pecs, which is weird. Who is that? It says celebs?
I think this guy was on Big Brother in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
And he definitely got an ab implant?
Yeah, that's ab implants.
Fact?
Yeah.
100%?
I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's
Rumors are.
implants, yeah.
This just shows off plastic surgery, plastic abs.
Go back to that image that you were just at before. Go back to where you just were. No, scroll down. No. On the other side. Scroll down. The boxer right there on the left-hand side. Yeah. That guy was a boxer above it right there. That guy had pec implants.
Okay.
That was a boxer with pec implants and like crazy plastic surgery face. We watched a video of him before. He was fighting in Mexico. He had like fixed fights in Mexico. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, this guy had like fake everything, like fake chest and fake muscles. And
It's just so weird because it doesn't even function.
God.
Because it's so strange though because it doesn't even function.
yeah,
Right? If you had big arms or arms that look big pumped up with synthol or whatever, but then they're not even strong.
right. And then the problem is, look at that neck. Grab a
Yeah.
hold of that neck, bro. You ain't defending any chokes, sir. That is a tiny ass neck.
Oh, that one there, that before and after really shows on the left the abs.
Oh yeah, go to that far left.
Yeah, you can. That
Right
really
there.
shows that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
My God.
But what's weird is because your abs only look like that if you're leaning, like if you're flexing them.
Yes.
But when they do that, it's like that all the time.
All the time.
So it just doesn't
Whoa,
look right.
Look at that. That's incredible.
This is different. This is abdominal
Etching.
etching, so it's not an implant, but like sculpting in some way with
that
something.
that guy did also lose weight between those two pictures. You can
Yeah, he
see.
certainly did. He
leaned
certainly
out.
dropped his body. And it looks like his arms and chest got bigger, too.
Yeah, he leaned out.
I'm not buying that
And
one.
that one might be just.
And then you got that synthol guy up there. I don't know. People do some strange things.
But the thing is, a woman can get things done like boobs, and no one cares. Guys are like, she looks hot. But if a guy's got like a fucking sock in his...
Whoa. What?
Ew. We're looking at a girl who has fake implants of her abdomen, her abdominal muscles that are so obviously fake that they're over her ribs.
Yeah.
Like those muscles are literally over the rib cage where they don't even belong.
No.
That's nuts.
No,
Look
is
at her
it-
face too. Steroids
Yeah.
much?
So you can see look at that guy. You can see when he's sitting,
Go to that guy.
like
left.
the abs are still.
Oh my God, that's
just-
so ridiculous.
it just
Look how
doesn't look
fat
right.
he is too, bro. You got to lose weight if you're gonna rock a fit. That's so lazy.
It's an 8-pack too.
It's so lazy. See, abs are a weird one because if you really desperately wanted abs, everybody can get them if you just work hard enough. You know, abs, it's not like, what is that?
Jesus Christ.
The guy's abs and then a weird swelling underneath.
Yeah, just go to the
Oh,
gym.
it says
and eat.
flesh fanny pack.
Yeah, but that's his.
What is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, I just.
What
got
is that?
distracted.
That's just a weird picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, but guys with fake things, like, get no respect. You know what I mean? Like a guy with a fake dick, like, get out of here. A guy with a fake pecs, go away. What is this?
What?
He had
Whoa.
injected into his ball
His
sack.
balls?
And he
Oh
died.
my gosh.
Man dies after injecting silicone into his testicles for sex cult game. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that fella had issues. But, like, dudes with fake pecs and guys with fake muscles, like, nobody wants to see that shit.
No, just go to the gym and eat right. It does work.
Yeah. But
It
you
does
imagine
work.
if there was a dick growing machine, you know, like a squat rack for your dick. Boy, would there be a line.
But after, wouldn't it just become like that? Would just become the new norm if everyone?
Yeah, girls would be all stretched out. Everybody have a giant hog.
But you know what? I don't actually think most people would use. Just like most people don't go to the gym. I mean, you've already got this option to increase your muscles and make yourself look better, and most people don't do it. So I'm not
True.
convinced that if it took actual work and effort, I don't actually think the majority of people would do it.
I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was difficult, it was hard work. That's why people want these operations. All they have to do is go to the doctor's office, and the doctor's going to take care of everything. Mike, I'm going to put you under, and when you wake up, you're going to have a hog of a lifetime. You're going to have the giant pecs and a full sculpted six-pack and synthol stuffed muscles. There's one video of this guy, this Brazilian dude, who's got these synthol muscles and he's dancing, and it looks like he's got water balloons all over his body.
I know who you're talking
you know
about.
the video?
I know who you're
It's
talking about.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like the body dysmorphia, where people just don't see what other people see, like the same as anorexics, and the same as, you know, I guess bodybuilders have that same issue. Like a lot of really enormous bodybuilders still feel like they look small.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird. Like, I just think if you want to change your body, you want to change your physique, you want to feel better, you want to feel more confident, there is a way to do that.
Yes.
That doesn't involve paying tens of thousands of dollars or taking massive health risks or getting cut up or anything like that. Just go to the gym, lift, train. Like, it works.
Yes.
It really does work. Not everyone's going to be able to reach some elite level, but you know, everyone can look better, man.
Everyone can look better. The people that I have sympathy for are people with physical deformities, and, you know, issues that you just can't grow muscle or something's wrong with your body or you have a disease like that. I get it. Then for those people, I do truly hope that science comes up with a solution, and through some sort of CRISPR type engineering, they're able to.
Here's a question for you, Joe. Do you think that there's any sort of limit in terms of what science maybe could do, but sort of should not? Do you know what I mean? Like as science advances and things get a little more crazy and they're looking into things like making people immortal or all that kind of, in your own mind, do you think there's like a level where it's like, maybe we should like leave this alone and not go that far? I don't know what you think.
I think even if you do think that, and I'm sure that you could find examples where I would say that's a bad idea, it's not going to matter because I think that people are going to do it. And if the United States isn't going to do it, China's going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think China is already experimenting on people in pretty radical ways. And they're
Really?
they're doing CRISPR on fetuses, and you know they're going to do genetic engineering. And I think it's it's just in the cards. In our lifetime, we're going to see some product of genetic engineering that's some super freak athlete.
Yeah.
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 I mean, when you and I are old men, we're going to be watching television or whatever the fuck they have back then, or in the future rather, and we're going to see someone who can fucking jump over buildings. We're going to see someone who can, literally fly over cars, just leap over things, and just someone with preposterous physical attributes. That's all created in a laboratory.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the greatest athletes the world has ever known, you look at like the very best physical specimens that humanity has to offer. And they just figured out, okay, well, what are the traits, and how do we impart those on people, and how do we actually improve them? How do we double them and triple them? You know what myostatin inhibitors are?
Yes, I do. They allow the muscle to grow far beyond what it normally can.
And they exist in, for whatever reason, in some cows naturally, and also whippets.
Yeah, bully whippets.
It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's jacked up.
So weird, dude. I've shown people pictures and they're like, that's not real.
Yeah,
I'm like, it is real. Something with whippets, apparently when they breed them, you know, like breeding dogs is weird. Like I have a friend who has a chocolate lab and their eyes are about as close together as my two fingers are.
Yeah.
That dog is fucked. Like it's just like, I don't like being around it. It'll bite you.
Yeah.
Like it's overbred. Like it's like some fucking West Virginia hillbilly just left alone in some small town. They can't get anywhere. And there are people like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's inbred people. Well, there's inbred dogs.
Used to be a big problem with royalty, right?
Yes,
Jeez,
yes.
man.
Yeah, because they only had to breed with other royalty.
Yeah.
This, whatever reason, when you breed whippets and something goes wrong because they're just breeding them with other whippets, they develop this fucking preposterous ability to grow muscle, and they look like Hulk dogs.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's going to happen to people, man. There was already a boy who was born in Germany, I believe, who had a natural problem. His body naturally had the same issue that a whippet had. Have you ever seen that?
I think
kid?
I know. I'm trying to actually remember his name because I know the kid you're talking about.
See if you can pull that up. Well, there was one kid they called him the Young Hulk, but
Yeah.
it turned out that his father was actually injecting him with steroids when he was a
wow.
little kid, which is awful. But this is a boy from Germany who had this myostatin inhibitor problem, and he was fucking
Really?
jacked.
How old?
He was little,
Yeah.
like 4
Wow.
4 or 5 at the time when I saw the pictures, and I'm talking just thick muscle caps. You know, he looked like Paulo Costa, the guy who fights in the UFC,
Yeah.
just fucking jacked,
That's nuts.
just jacked little baby.
That's so
Yeah.
weird, man.
We're gonna see the Hulk, you know, like a real live version of the Hulk. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
I don't know. That kind of stuff, it does freak me out because it's kind of like eugenics 2.0, right?
Yeah, it is.
You know,
yeah.
I'm just kind of like, man, where's this stuff all gonna
Right.
all gonna go?
Well, there's a beauty in our diversity,
Mm.
like our physical diversity. There's a beauty in the fact there's really tall people and really short people and really smart people, really stupid people, and sometimes stupid people are really good at certain things. Sometimes smart people are really bad at other things. And there's a beauty in the chaos of human life, is that we are all weird and different, and if you can find your way, everyone can make some sort of a contribution. It's not that everyone's going to make some sort of a contribution, but it's possible that most of us can find something where other people find value in what you do, and you could do something in an extraordinary way.
Yeah, definitely. I think a great way to stay humble is to always remember that like everybody is superior to you in some way, shape,
Yeah.
or form, right? You know, it seems like you've got people who are kind of awesome at everything or whatever, but it's like, you know what? Like every person out there has got something that, especially if they tapped into it and they actually reached some fraction of their potential, then people are capable of all kinds of crazy things when they actually do it and they train and they work on it.
Another perspective enhancer is that the grave beckons. I mean, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And the dwelling on what you're great at or not great at in this life, it's like, okay, you ain't got much time, bro. It seems like you do, but it'll be there before you know it. That Grim Reaper is going to be knocking on your door.
Yeah. I think that's motivational though.
There's a little boy.
Is that the kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Giuliano
He's
Strode.
4 years old. Fucking
Wow, he's ripped. Oh, he does.
jacked.
Jeez.
Is that the kid?
He does gymnastics.
It's the best I could. I thought this is who you're talking
Did you
about.
type in myostatin inhibitors?
Yeah. But I don't know if it's coming up on him. I don't know if they have studies on him. But
I don't know if that's him.
He's jacked though.
He's fucking.
Look at that.
Jesus Christ. He's so jacked. He's 4 years old and he's built like a 17-year-old super.
Dude, look at
Powerful
the
kid.
look at
Yeah.
the shoulder striations. What
Yeah.
on earth?
That is so unusual.
No, that's not normal.
No, so unusual. That guy's gonna fuck his way through grammar school.
That's not normal. Dude,
Look at him.
that's
Little
not
tank.
normal.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of those. We're gonna see a lot of those coming out of China. Mark
Wow.
my words. You know,
he's not that big anymore.
He's not that big
He's
anymore.
a little older now. That's him now.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
what happened? He stopped lifting weights.
Must have.
They got him off the
Probably about
shit.
15 now, maybe. I
See,
think.
when I see something like that, and then I also see him lifting weights when he's younger, I don't think this is the same one. Because also he's Italian, right?
He's Romanian.
He's Romanian.
Yeah. There's another kid from Michigan, which you said Germany, so
I thought it was a German kid.
yeah, I thought I know who you're talking about, but
We could search
Yeah.
for a long time before we
Doesn't
find it and interrupt the podcast. We'll never get done. But I think we're going to see that. I think to answer your question, though, I think there's probably a lot of things that we shouldn't do. But what are those things, and who's to decide, and does it really matter? I mean, look, it's entirely possible that this fucking planet's going to get hit within our lifetime by a giant asteroid, and we're going to wipe us all out.
Possible.
That's possible.
It's possible.
That's not outside the realm.
No.
I mean, isn't there a big one that's supposed to? There's a real chance it might hit around 2029. Fuck, man.
I thought we were all supposed to be murked in 2000 or so, but I don't know.
That was just the Y2K.
That was just Y2K
right?
bug.
That was just the bug. It was going to stop civilization in its tracks.
I don't
How
know.
hilarious is that? When they were coding, they didn't take into account that the 1900s is going to switch over to the 2000s.
I remember even at that time when I was a lot younger, and I was thinking, surely they worked that out. Like, surely
Right.
it'll just go from 99 to 0. It's not going to just explode and
They
cause
did.
all this chaos.
They worked it out.
And you had people like hiding underground and doomsday prepping and all that.
Oh, imagine if you spent all your money building a bunker in your backyard, and then the day after 2000, you poke your head out and birds are chirping, people are driving. Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, Cindy. Everyone's fucking normal.
You'd have
You're
to
like,
stay-
shit.
Yeah, you
My
gotta,
bunker.
gotta stay in there to save face.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, people are fucking silly, but we all have this understanding, this appreciation of the fact that civilization, like our grid, our power grid is fragile. The internet's fragile. There's wires that go under the ocean that connect us to other countries. That's how it works.
Yep.
The internet is literally wires laid down at the bottom of the ocean that connect us with Europe.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy how quickly it's happened as well. I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting with me. I mean, I was born in '86, and I remember in the late '80s when you couldn't even render a circle on a screen, right? Like they didn't have the technology to make an actual circle. So in all the video games and graphics and stuff, it would either be a square or at best a hexagon or an octagon because you couldn't actually do round curves. And that's in my own lifetime. And then I remember the early days of the internet especially when I was in boarding school and stuff, and using GeoCities and Netscape and all that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of crazy how it's gone from that and all these Atari 2600 and these very basic video games and stuff like that, and the Apple IIes with the big floppy disks and all that stuff. And I'm just like, man, I just turned 33, and I'm like, man, that's just in my own lifetime. So in another 10, 20, 30 years, it's amazing to just think of what stuff's going to be like, because they'll look back on what we have now, and everything we have now is going to look like the Atari 2600 does to me right now. They'll be looking at these phones and being like, oh my gosh, people used to use this?
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that there's nothing classic from our lifetime either.
Classic.
Like there's classic things from like classic muscle cars, for example, from the 1960s. People love them. Classic cars from the 90s can go fuck themselves. No, nobody wants a 1990 car. Get the fuck out of here with that.
wasn't it already classic by like the 80s though? Like classic rock was already classic rock. So
Yeah,
how
man.
was it like instantly?
It happened quick.
Yeah.
Well, people realized that something had happened. There was this blip in time where people went wild, and we talked about it with Aoki yesterday. We were talking about Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison. These people just were a part of this revolutionary change in culture, and then it was swiped out in the 1970s. So by the time 1980s came around, when I was in high school, 1970 cars were fucking classic cars.
Okay.
They were classic, like a 1970 Chevelle in 1981 when I was 14 was the shit.
Okay.
It was like a classic muscle car. Like my mom had a 1971 Barracuda. When I was 14 in 1981, that was the shit. But it was a classic car. It was an old car, but it was 10 years old.
Okay.
It's like we realized some way that the culture had shifted and that was never going to happen again because cars were dog shit in the 80s. I mean, they were just dog. If you didn't have a Porsche is probably the only cars that are still cool. Like I have a 1993 RS America. It's a very lightweight, air-cooled Porsche, super lightweight, stripped down, no air conditioning, no radio. It's a fun car. That was like one of the rare cars that's worth a fuck from 1990s. One of the rare ones.
Yeah.
Most of the shit from that era is just nonsense. You know, for whatever reason, the 80s and the 90s, like people just had, they went into this dull zone of creativity when it comes to a lot of things.
Classic video games, though, I guess. Music and video games, entertainment. Music, films.
Comedy. You know, that was Eddie Murphy, Delirious was from the 80s. Yeah, a lot of Richard Pryor shit was from the 80s. It was amazing.
So maybe not in terms of tech or manufacturing.
Yeah.
But in entertainment, I think, entertainment and culture, I think some key stuff happened in that decade.
Well, there's these bursts of novelty and of creativity. And we're certainly in the middle of one right now. Like right now is probably one of the more interesting times to be alive in terms of like constant innovation and new things being created.
Yeah.
Apple has apparently some new AR glasses they're about to release, augmented reality glasses.
Yeah. I also just think now the time we live is people just have the opportunity and potential and power people have as individuals now is insane.
Yeah.
It's not what it's ever been before. I mean, nobody told you to start this podcast, right? This is just something you started, and you've been doing it. You've been doing it now for a decade plus, and you've got the ability to broadcast this out to millions of people. Doesn't matter where they are in the world. I mean, I live in the UK. I flew over here to come do this podcast, and I had people in the UK. Oh, cool, awesome! You're going on Joe Rogan. Yeah, I watched that, and it's like that's thousands of miles away, and you've got people all over, and you can reach all of them largely for free too. Right? You can just do that. You can put something out on your phone. You can reach millions of people through there, whatever it is you're trying to communicate, whatever it is you're trying to promote. I mean, that's new. That's
I
really
really
new.
enjoy the fact that it's free.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest aspect of one of the big media things today, which are podcasts, is that you can just get them.
It's just there.
Like I download so many of them, man. I get them all the time. And there are always new ones. They're always available.
Yeah.
And you get them. I love the fact that you can get them instantly too.
Yeah.
Like
And
if you have a podcast, don't you?
I do, yeah. Real Talk with Zuby.
Real Talk with Zuby.
Real Talk
so
with
I can
Zuby.
go right now to my iTunes
Hey,
and
do it.
I'll type in right here. Here we are. We go right there. We're in the podcast app, and we're going to go with Real Talk with Zuby. Talk with ZU. There it is. Bam.
Boom.
Real Talk with Zuby. Here it is. Boom.
Look at that.
And I'm going to subscribe, and then I'm going to see. Ooh, check mark. And then
Awesome.
I'm going to download. Kapow.
Awesome. Everybody else go do the same right now.
Yeah, everybody go do the same. But look at this. I mean, this is what's crazy
Yeah,
is
it's
that
nuts.
you can like instantaneously play it. I
Yeah.
mean, we're having this
Podcast is
conversation.
Sponsored by Benign Images.
I mean,
Yeah,
come
there we
on,
go.
man. That's crazy.
It's a nice shout out for
That's the most amazing thing in our lifetime.
It is, yeah.
Is that you just pull that out of the air. This thing is like in the air.
Yeah.
It's not connected to shit. And it's just pulling things out of the sky with, it's nuts.
I feel like people are aware of it, but they're kind of not.
Most people are not.
Do you know what I mean? Like
The people that are.
Yeah, people use it. Everybody knows the internet exists. Everyone knows social media's there. I don't think people realize like what you can really do with those tools. It's like, yeah, you can sit there on Twitter and be mean to people and troll and troll and go on YouTube and write mean comments or whatever. You can do that, but you can also just create something from nothing, right? If you're a comedian, you're a musician, you're an actor, whatever, you can just go and just make a YouTube channel, create new account.
Yes.
And you can just start putting stuff out there. You've got a phone which can record in HD, 4K video, good audio. I mean, it's nuts. Even if I just go back to the 90s or early thousands and you look at music videos and stuff like that, and an iPhone or a standard Android can record better quality video than the top tier stuff that they were recording music videos and films with not so long ago. And it's just like, man, that's just in your pocket.
Oh, especially the new Androids. Like the Galaxy Note 10
Yeah.
has the ability to blur the background like portrait mode in 4K video. Yeah. So you're making 4K video, not just blur it, but they also have this filter that you can make the background kind of fucked up and scratchy like an old VHS tape.
Okay.
You could do cool effects with video while in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, they also have wide angle lenses, so you can film and take photos in wide angle. They have night vision mode where it turns night into a much more visible environment. It's weird.
It's weird. And it's still early.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing is that it's still early.
I love the fact they're all competing with each other, right? Like Apple has to come up with something better than Samsung's done, and Huawei and OnePlus. It's like it's this mad dash to come up with the greatest shit the world's ever seen, and everyone's doing it.
I do think that it would be good to have a little bit of a moratorium on new phones, though.
Really? Why?
They won't do it, but
They never will.
No, of course not. Of course not. They want to keep the competition going and keep people fired up. But the differences between them now are so incremental. It's just diminishing returns now. So if you put out a new phone every 6 months or every 12 months, the difference between them now is kind of like
sort of. But the difference between if you look at like the screen real estate of like a Galaxy Note 10 versus an iPhone 10, which is what I have, the 10S Max.
Okay.
That was the shit just a few months ago.
Yeah.
But when you look at that next to like Steve Aoki was here yesterday and he had a Galaxy S10 Plus, is that what it was? Mm-hmm. That thing looks way cooler than this. Like if you look at them right next to each other, like, oh, there's no bezels on the outside, and there's no notch at the top.
Yeah.
There's a tiny little hole where the camera is. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I mean is like the difference between the Galaxy S5 and the S6 Edge was like a big leap.
Right.
And then between the S6 and the S7, a little less. Between the S7 and the S8, a little less. I mean, between
what do you got over there? What do you use?
This is a OnePlus 6.
Oh.
I'll give them a shout out.
That's a great phone. The OnePlus makes a great phone, a sort of unheralded phone, and they have the very best in-screen fingerprint reader, apparently.
Yeah, so
shout out to Flossie Carter.
Shout out to him.
Teaching me how to.
Yeah, so they've made 3 new ones since this version. I only got this last year, but this is already 3 generations.
Let me see that. And that's
already
pretty
kind of
fucking
3
cool. The
generations
new
out.
ones,
Yeah.
the
Let me
OnePlus
open it
7, the OnePlus 7 has a full screen.
So you got Megatron on the back there too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The OnePlus 7 has a full screen. There's no notch at all. There's nothing. And
Pop-up
then
camera.
The camera goes like a little motor, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. A lot of people here don't seem to know OnePlus.
No.
Everyone seems confused by my phone here.
Right. But everybody's Apple crazy over here.
Okay.
It's everyone's locked into the ecosystem.
Okay.
Apple's done an amazing job of roping everybody into their ecosystem 100% with iMessage and with AirDrop.
Okay.
Those 2 things and FaceTime. Weird thing over here. Everybody FaceTimes people. There's a new thing. Like I get FaceTime calls from my friends. They just FaceTime me out of the blue. I'm like, all right. I guess we're going to talk on video. Wham! And then they're there, and then your video. Like the first one to do it to me was Killer Mike. I was taking a shit, and Killer Mike FaceTimes me. I'm like, "What's up, man?" But apparently kids are doing it. Andrew Schultz does it. A lot of people just FaceTime people now. That's the new thing.
Yeah,
people are into FaceTiming. Schultz is an interesting example because he's a guy that couldn't get a Netflix deal, couldn't get a Comedy Central deal. So he said, "Okay, I know what I'll do. I know I've got great comedy. I will just put it all on YouTube." And he created this YouTube channel. He put his stand-up comedy special. He self-produced it, paid for everything, put it up on YouTube. And it's got millions of views. Yeah. And he went from being a guy that didn't really sell out clubs all that often to selling out theaters, multiple shows. And it happened inside of a year.
Yeah.
Just all self-made, all done by himself with the people that he works with. He puts little clips on his Instagram. They get hyped up. He promotes them that way. He puts clips on YouTube. And now other comics are following suit. And they're realizing, like, hey, this is the way to do this. And so many people can watch YouTube on their television now, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Just
the opportunity out there right now is incredible. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, I posted a dumb 9-second video on Twitter and, got international coverage on it. I've been invited to fly out to LA. I'm now on, the Joe Rogan Experience, doing all these other podcasts, and it's just nuts.
Did you take any heat for that?
Oh, of course, yeah.
What did people say?
Well, 99.5% was positive. Most people got it. The people who were angry, it was kind of funny because people were angry for different reasons. Because a lot of people didn't get it. So I don't want to say a lot of people, a few people didn't get it. So some people were upset with me saying that what I did was not fair towards women. It's kind of you kind of got the point, but you also sort of hugely missed it here. So I got some people saying that, oh, you're not a real woman, and you shouldn't be doing this. What you did was unfair against women, and blah blah blah.
Those are ditch diggers.
And I'm kind of like, dude,
you're always gonna have people that need them to dig holes.
Yeah, and that.
They're not going to get it.
And then, of course, there were the people who were trying to say that it was some attack on trans people as a whole or the entire trans community or something like this. And it was just like, no, it's just making a very biological, factual point. This is not an attack on any individual nor group. And like you said, I mean, online, what's weird is people try to read malice and stuff into things that's not there.
Yeah.
Someone will see one tweet and they'll start coming up with all these weird assumptions about what you believe or what they think you are or whatever. And you're just like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I believe. I just said what I said. I did what I did.
That is one of the interesting things about tweets, right? Is that if you can define someone in 140 characters, a bigoted moron who's this and that, and boom.
Yeah.
And then you send that tweet out there, and then you read it, and you're like, wait, that's not me.
No.
But it's these mischaracterizations are so easy when there's 140 characters or
It is.
280 characters.
A lot of it is malice too, If people don't understand something or something goes against their beliefs or their ideology, it's a lot easier to just try to demonize the person who's saying it or slap some kind of label on them, which means that you can just ignore that person, right?
Yeah.
And it's people try to do it all the time. It's not something that works with me because I'm very aware and cognizant of these type of tactics and stuff people try to use to mob people or shut them down or whatever. So it doesn't work on me personally. Like I've had tons of mobs come after me and try to, label me something.
I'm sure you're reasonable.
Yeah. This is the thing. It just doesn't work because I don't play into the game.
Yeah.
Like they just end up looking silly because they'll say something and you're just like, no.
Well, you've got your finger on the pulse of culture and all these shifting tides and turns. Where do you think this is going? Because this is not something that we experienced 10, 15 years ago. This is all like the boiling point is completely new.
Yeah.
Where do you think this is going?
That's a good question. Is like a particular aspect of it? Do you mean the political stuff or this stuff?
The animosity for sure, because it seems heightened.
It is heightened.
It seems more people are, particularly politically, more polarized now than ever before. The quickest I've ever seen for people to label someone a bigot or a racist or a transphobe or a sexist. It's like everyone there's so much intensity involved in discourse today that. And I attribute some of it to the dismay of having a maniac in the White House. There's a little bit of that.
He's more of a symptom than a cause. It was already happening, and I'd already seen it happening.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason why he won, as far as I'm concerned, because people were getting tired of some of the nonsense. People are getting tired of. I often joke. I mean, it seems like in 2015 and 2016, the strategy of some of the Democratic Party was to call half the population racist, and that didn't work. So now their strategy is to call 70% of the population racist and hope it works. And it's just like I was like, it doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't endear people to you. If you're trying to win people over, then trying to call them things that they're not is really not a good idea. And a big problem with it as well is, one, it dilutes the terms, right? When people start throwing around these terms, racist, Nazi, white supremacist, it dilutes the terms completely. Because if
Did
you start,
see what happened with Google?
Which one?
Google, where they called Ben Shapiro.
Oh, yeah.
And who's a Jew, an Orthodox Jew. They call is he Orthodox Jew or
Orthodox.
One of those.
Yeah.
And Dennis Prager, who's also Jewish. They labeled them in internal memos as Nazis.
It's insane.
Nazis.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been called a Nazi.
Ooh.
I'm a young black man. I've been called a black white supremacist, Joe. I'm not even joking.
No, wait.
I
You
wish I
really
were
have?
joking. Yeah.
So like Clayton Bigsby from the Dave Chappelle show.
I wish I were joking. And best thing is, like, 3 of the people who have called me that were white too.
Oh, God,
so I was just
that's
like, you can't see
hilarious.
the ridiculousness of what you're saying here.
Yeah.
So people just throw around these labels, and I think it's a problem for a lot of reasons. I think, one, it massively minimizes the reality of people who have actually gone through some crap or been oppressed or something like that. If you start just tossing these things around, if you start comparing stuff to Nazi Germany or whatever, the people who genuinely went through that stuff will be like, wait, what are you even talking about, right? That's not fair. Number 2 is it just it makes it really hard to actually, what's the term? It dilutes the terms. So things that should have a sting lose their sting. If you're going to just call everybody a racist, you're going to call everybody a white supremacist, you're going to call everybody these things, then these words lose their power. And then third, it actually provides cover for genuine people who hold these views, right? Like white supremacy is not some big popular common thing, but those people do still exist. Neo-Nazis do actually exist. And you're providing massive cover for them all if you're going to just start going around and bandying out these terms willy-nilly, because now when people hear those terms, if you hear, oh, so-and-so is called a Nazi, now my default that, 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh, really? Like, what? Is this serious?
Right.
Now it's like, oh, do you mean like an actual Nazi, or do you mean like an
it's the boy who cried wolf.
Exactly. And, it just becomes to the stage where words just lose their meanings. And I don't even know, I don't take these accusations even seriously anymore. And a lot of people feel the same way because so many people have been called these things. I mean,
but do you think it's going to normalize where everyone's going to calm down, or do you think it's going to keep ramping up?
It's a good question.
Does it depend? I think it depends on whether or not Donald Trump wins again. I think if he wins again, it might ramp up.
I think he will win again because it's ramping up. I think that people need to chill. That's really what it is. People need to chill and not get so caught up in, it's so weird. We're living in this time where people are saying that gender is a spectrum, but yet politics is binary. Okay, so you're on the left or you're on the right.
That's a good point.
That's it.
Right.
And it's like, no, most people, firstly, most people are relatively apolitical. Most people are not actually that politically charged. Like,
right. Most people are busy.
Most people just want to get on with their lives and not really be bothered.
They just don't want to get fucked over in their taxes.
Exactly.
They want their schools to be good.
Yeah.
And they don't want people to be discriminated against.
They're not
most people.
Exactly. They're not ride or die for the blue team or ride or die for the red team.
It's so weird when they are too.
Yeah, it is.
It's exhausting when you're around someone who's really political.
Yeah, I get it if that's your job and that's what you do and whatnot. But ultimately, look, all these people have to live in the same town, city, country, planet. So we need a way for all of these people and all of this diversity on all levels to work and function, and people don't step on each other's toes too much, and everyone can do their things, have their beliefs, have their views, and not massively encroach on other people. And I think we'd actually work that out pretty well. I want to say in like the late 90s to early 2010s, stuff seemed, certainly in the West, like, okay, we've kind of got it here. And that's why I feel a little bit dismayed when I see some of these ideas popping up, or some of this identity politics nonsense and stuff popping up over the last 5 to 6 years, and people are kind of falling back into this very tribal mentality, whether it's men versus women, or black versus white, or red versus blue, or remain versus leave, whatever it is. I'm just kind of like, look, I look at people as individuals, and people. I'm not running around the street trying to find.
How do we promote that, though? How do we promote looking at people as individuals? Because I think that is really that's one of the keys to getting out of this mess.
It is
to stop tribal ideological recognition and definitions of humans. Just to look at people as, this is Tom, this is Sally, this is this guy, this is that girl, this is this non-binary person, whatever the fuck they are.
I think there's a lot to learn from children in that regard, because I don't think kids generally do that.
Give a fuck.
Kids don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
Kids don't care. Where I grew up in Saudi Arabia, off the bat, I was just surrounded by people of all different skin colors, different nationalities, different religions, and it was just always cool. Some of these ideas, like, I'd never heard people talking about race anytime more in my life than now, which is really weird to me, right? In the 90s, in the thousands, I wasn't hearing people talking about, white privilege this, white privilege, white man that, and suddenly it's like, oh, let me tell you about my blackness, or, you're hearing terms like blackness and whiteness, and I'm just like, what are you even talking about? Like, this is nonsense. People of color this, but I can't stand that term, by the way. Like, just all this terminology, and people are just talking in these really bizarre ways and just kind of grouping people into these weird groups, and I'm just like, what's the point of all this? What's the purpose
they
here?
get some juice out of it. You know, that's why for them it's worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Because they get something. You know, they get something by appealing to fellow Europeans or by appealing to, you know, like the straight pride parade. You know, they got a bunch of people to fucking parade. They got together like, I'm so proud of being straight. Like, oh, great. You're proud of being 90% of the fucking population.
More than that, yeah.
Straight people are under attack. Like, what does that mean? That is so crazy.
I don't know.
Gay pride makes sense. I know a bunch of guys, well, I know at least 3 that are in the closet that want to come out but can't.
Yeah.
They're scared.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of their career or because of their life. You know, they're gay amongst their friends. They let their friend, but they don't want to tell anybody. So for them,
It's like a lot of conservatives.
right, gay is the only thing that you can hide, right? Like if you're black, it's obvious.
Yeah.
If you're white, it's obvious. If you're gay, no one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah.
So you can hear people say gay jokes and say mean things and you could just swallow it and like, you know, and you could feel terrible and you could hear pastors talk about how you're going to hell if you're gay and you're like, fuck. And they are gay and they can't come out. So for them, the idea of gay pride makes sense. It's a celebration. It's an affirmation that it's okay to be who you are.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Straight pride is fucking preposterous. It's so ridiculous, man. Fucking most people are straight, bitch. What are you doing? You're taking time out of your busy day and you're gonna march. You gotta fly. What's if the gay pride thing is a rainbow? What do straight people get?
I don't know.
What's the flag?
It's kind of greedy they took the whole rainbow, though.
They did. They stole it from the leprechauns. It's
greedy.
What is the? Let's stop and think about that. Like, what is the straight pride flag? What color would it be?
Maybe all black or all white? I don't know. Or black and white? I don't know.
What is it?
Black and white.
Is it black and white? For real. There's a
Yeah.
flag. There is. I said fag. I meant to say flag. Sorry,
Canceled.
Freud. Really? There's a.
Googled it. There's pictures of
Please
it.
put
says
it
it's
up.
from Boston's
Please put up
parade.
the fucking straight. Oh,
There we go. Yeah, black and white.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's exactly what I thought it would be. I was going to say it'll have
You
the male
nailed
and
it,
female
dude.
symbol.
You fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's incredible.
It's like a meme, but I don't know.
Bro, we need to get that.
Yeah.
We need to hang one of those in the studio. Straight
pride.
pride
There we go.
flag. Holy shit. Holy shit. There's a straight pride flag.
There's flags for everything now, aren't there?
God damn it. That's hilarious, though. Meanwhile, the gay one, they have a way better flag. Make America straight again. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's straight, dude. That's why there's so many of us, you fucking idiot. America is mostly straight. That's why there's 320 million people. Oh, God.
Yeah, man. Look, people can do what they want, man.
The fact that I was joking, thinking there's a straight pride flag, and the fact that you nailed it perfectly. Oh, it's probably black and white. That's
Yeah.
another one. Red and pink and blue. Get the fuck out of here with that one.
Nah.
Is that another one? Yeah. Oh, so there's division amongst the straight pride folks. They can't decide what's what. It's great to be straight. Look at this. Oh, what do you get? What do you get? People that no one wants to fuck. Look at them. Look at him. That guy's got an American flag bandana. Bitch, you ain't Hulk Hogan. You take that goddamn thing off right now. About a bandana around his head. Stop.
Oh, well.
What do we do, Zuby?
Keep
What do we
doing
do?
keep doing what we're doing, man. I think discussion, to answer your question, I think discussion is what is needed to keep the lid on the pot. I think that's why it's, you know, when we were talking about like deplatforming and all that kind of stuff plays into the polarization as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
You know, it drives people underground. It pushes people to radical fringes and whatnot. What you want is just keep the communication channels open. I mean, you've only got 3 ways of dealing with any conflict. You can talk, you can segregate, or you can fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're talking individually or countries. Those are the only 3 options. So as soon as discussion breaks down or people don't want to talk or people think, oh, I can't talk to that person because they voted Trump or they voted Leave or they voted liberal or they voted Democrat or whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as that breaks down, and I mean, it's crazy. You're seeing all these stories about couples breaking up or families where the parents won't talk to the kids anymore or vice versa, or people are kind of, you know, exiling and denouncing their own friends and family over politics. And when I see stuff like that, I'm like, that is sad. That's
Yeah.
very, very sad. I mean, if you can have a disagreement, you can say, okay, I believe in this, I think this, I'm going to vote that way, you vote that way, cool. But you can still be friends, you can still be brothers, you can still be cool. Like that stuff, I mean, if stuff is functioning correctly, politics shouldn't play such a huge role in your life. It should be a very much a background thing. You know what I mean? It's just there.
It's also one of the main characteristics in cults.
Yeah.
Is to separate you from anybody that disagrees.
It is. It really is.
I mean, that's one of the things that they do in cults. They separate you from your family. It's one of the first things they do.
It is. And that's how people end up in echo chambers. People are like, oh, how did we not see Trump coming? It's like, you didn't see Trump coming because you don't talk to half the population.
Right. And if you live in these high population areas where everyone has the same sort of ideology or shares that ideology, it becomes a real problem. New York and LA in particular.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it happens. The two things I guess it happens with most are politics and religion, right? So if you live in a place where everybody is religious and everybody is of the same faith, then it's easy to sort of assume and behave in a way that everybody else in the world or outside thinks and believes the exact same things everybody does. The same thing can happen politically. If someone lives in a super liberal area or a super conservative area, you can just think, okay, well, everyone I know thinks this.
Yeah.
So that's what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, I'm a musician, you're a comedian, we both go around respective countries to different places, and you talk to different people. You have this podcast, you've had all kinds of people of different persuasions on here, religious, non-religious, political, all across the spectrum and whatever. So I'd imagine that you can understand and empathize with all of the positions. You've got your own views, but you can be like, okay, I get where that person is coming from, or I get how that person believes that, or I get that. And just that level of empathy is really what is needed. I think it's really just about empathy. It's about being able to understand that most people want the world to be a better place. There aren't that many people who wake up every day thinking, all right, I want to make the world worse. I want to make my life worse. I want to make my family's life. Most people want to make stuff better. People have different ideas on what will make things better. But I think as long as people sort of extend that charity to other people and don't try to consider things in the worst possible way. If somebody says something, whether online or offline, don't try to interpret it in the worst possible way that you could, or read some kind of malice into it that's not there. Just understand they're coming from a good place. You may disagree, and then you can have that discussion. And even if people don't change their minds, you at least understand other people better.
I think you're entirely right. And I think the idea that we can get through this world existing in echo chambers and solve anything is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have to communicate with each other.
Absolutely.
I talked to someone and they said, this is a real weird conversation I had. They were like, how do you talk to so many different people that you agree with and disagree with? I go, well, I find things that I agree with, even in people that I disagree with.
Yeah.
I try to find like common ground. It's like, is that old Sting song, The Russians Love Their Children Too?
Okay, I don't think I know.
It's an old song.
It's a funny title for a song.
Thought of it for whatever reason, but you can find things that you agree with people. You can find common ground, morals and ethics and kindness and communication, compassion and camaraderie and friendship. And we work out from there and try to figure out, why does someone have these politically polarizing views? Mm-hmm. Why does someone have this idea about that or this? And let's figure out what the fuck the middle ground is. And freedom is a big part of it, man.
Yeah.
And the more people are restricting people and the more people are trying to enforce their ideology on other people, the more the other side's going to dig their heels in.
Yep.
And then you get this stance that we're at today.
Yeah. I mean, one of my things, like I myself, I believe in God. I'm a Christian, always have been. And one thing I often say is, I think, if you're taking something like religion, I always say, like, look, if someone says, I can't do such and such because it's against my religion, that's totally cool. If you start saying, you can't do such and such because it's against my religion,
right?
That's when that line gets crossed, right? When you start trying to force things down other people's throats and try to change all that. So, and I think that's something that, not everybody is there yet, but I think most people sort of implicitly understand that, okay, cool. Like people can have all their different different beliefs, their different ideas or lack of belief or whatever the case is. But as long as you're not trying to force stuff from other people, people don't like being forced. People generally don't like being forced to do things or to believe things or being punished for what they think or what they believe and whatever. So wherever that comes from, I think if you start having that, whether it's from a government or an individual or whatever, that's when people are really going to clash and collide. And there seem to be a lot of people right now who don't really get like that. It's, think like us, think like me, or we will punish you.
Yeah.
And that's not primarily coming in the West anyway. That's not generally coming from religious people now. I'm not seeing it's more of a political thing. Like we were talking about some of this weird intersectional far left kind of stuff. That's very much what they're doing now. Even when you're talking about them ostracizing people or trying to cancel people or whatever, it's very much like, look, this is what we think, this is what we believe. Anyone who doesn't, if you're not with us, or you're against us, and we're going to attack you, we're going to verbally demonize you, we're going to deplatform you, we're going to do all this. And I'm like, look, that's a problem. You can't be claiming to be tolerant and then you're treating people that way and you're talking about people that way. All that's going to do is keep raising the temperature, right?
Well
you want to bring
said.
the temperature down, yeah.
Well said. It's very, very important what you just said. The way you said, and there's also a tremendous amount of unhealthy people, unhealthy emotionally, unhealthy physically, unhealthy in terms of their perspective and their ability to be objective about the world they live in and to be introspective about their own failings and shortcomings and just to treat people well. Yeah. I think if we all went through this life with that as our directive, let's treat people well. I'm going to treat people well. I'm going to be nice to people, try to be friendly as much as possible, and try to do my best.
Yeah.
Do you know who Don Miguel Ruiz is?
I don't know.
The 4 agreements. I think there's like 5 agreements now.
I don't think so.
See if you could pull up what the 4 agreements are. It's be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. Why can I not remember them? See, pull them out, please. You got it? Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions.
That's 3.
That's 3. Where's the rest of them? That's hilarious. But there's more than that. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Always do your best is missing from that for whatever reason. That's hilarious, though, that there's only 3. But that's Wikipedia. Get the fuck out of Wikipedia. Go to that. 4 agreements. The website right there. Bam. Okay, here it's a really good book.
Okay.
And it's very interesting because it's very simple. And they added a 5th one. See, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. But just those, being impeccable with your word, very important, right?
Yep.
Say what you mean what you say, and if you fuck up, be honest about it.
Yeah.
Don't take anything personally. That's very important, and I've worked very hard to develop that in myself. That whether people saying things about me or whether it's something that goes wrong or someone fucked me over, I try to take a deep breath and I try to forgive them.
Yeah.
I really do. I work hard at it.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions. That's another one. Don't make assumptions. There's no value in that. And always doing your best, man, you can't go wrong if you always do your best. It's one of the best things anybody could say in life. And I think the other one, he's got a new one, is be skeptical, but be open to new information. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Be skeptical, but learn to listen. There
Gotcha.
it is. Yeah, these are great. So he added one because he realized,
man.
I need another agreement. It's a really good, it's a very simple book. It's
Absolutely.
not a super complicated book. But those tenets, ways to live by, I mean, that is a great way for people, especially people that are secular, that don't believe in religion. Like, that is a good structure. And I think that one of the things that religious people have an advantage in is that they do have a moral and ethical structure to live their life by. And if you live your life by that, look, when I was young, I used to think there was something wrong with it. I used to think, well, it's all fairy tales and nonsense. Why would you believe in that? And then as I got older, I realized, well, no. If you just follow the tenets of it, like, that's a great ethical, moral structure to live your life by.
Yeah.
And I think there's great benefit in people. And there's a lot of people that find tremendous benefit in living life with, guidelines.
Yeah.
Guidelines on how to be kind to people.
I mean, as a Christian, I mean, if you try to somewhat live your life like Jesus, it's hard to go wrong, really.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah. I mean, even if someone doesn't believe in I would tell people, I'm like, look, regardless of what you believe, you can't say that that guy's a bad example of
Right.
a role model.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
one says Jesus was a dick.
Yeah. Go help people. Be
Meanwhile,
be
someone's
honest about the
probably
truth.
making a T-shirt right now. Jesus was a dick, right? It's probably a T-shirt being
Yeah.
constructed right now.
As someone who's been listening to your podcast for a long time, actually, that's something that's what you just said is something that I've noticed a change in actually over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Going back and listening to some of the older ones where I think you were a lot more, how would I put it? Not aggressive, but a lot less tolerant of, say, like religion and religious viewpoints.
Yeah, guilty
And
as charged.
Yeah, and I think more recently over the years, it's been like, okay, I can get where that's coming from and what the value is and whatnot.
Well,
And
I've
that's been interesting to
experienced
see.
a great benefit from this podcast.
Yeah,
I know other people benefit from it, but I've experienced a great benefit in that I've been exposed to a lot of different points of view, different personalities, different intellects, and different brilliant human beings that have very different ideologies. I've met brilliant people that I love and respect that have polar opposite ideas on how the world works.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, and through that, I've developed a sort of an understanding of the various mechanisms that are at play with why people believe what they believe and how they benefit from believing that and what's the pros and cons. And then I've just sort of opened my mind up much more to various viewpoints, financial viewpoints, political viewpoints, and I've developed a much greater appreciation for the variety of opinions and ideas.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome to see. Like I've noticed it myself and been like, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
but I realized how dumb I am about a lot of things. I mean, if I had lived my life, being honest, if I had lived my life without doing this podcast, I would probably be a far more ignorant person right now in the same place. I feel like I've gotten not just great conversations and met great people like yourself and had a great time, but also I've been very privileged to have a tremendous education through all these people and for many of their books and right after you right now, Neil deGrasse Tyson's coming on.
That's awesome.
So I'm fucking pumped. You can meet him. He's in the green room. I saw him
sick.
come in. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's like having these incredible people to share their knowledge and a lifetime of learning. They can fill in blanks and educate you and point you in the right direction. And also you can see the way their mind works. And then there's guys like David Goggins.
Oh, yeah.
Who you realize okay, there's levels to everything, man. This fucking dude, he will make you realize that you have more in the tank.
Yeah.
He will make you realize that you can do more, you can push more. He fucking sends me text messages all the time. Like he sent me one yesterday and they just come out of the blue. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing going on. No need to respond. Hope all's well, brother. Continue to live in the grip of life. As you know, nothing gets done by being a bitch. Stay hard, brother.
That's amazing. Oh, wow.
That's David Goggins.
Wow.
I get these all the time. And I get them. My fucking hands start sweating. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a bitch. I'm going to run. I'm going to go fucking lift.
Well, it's crazy, dude. Like I said, I mean, it's all about potential, man. And I love and I'm drawn to anybody who promotes potential and being and becoming your best. I think that's part of why what you do here has been so successful and so inspirational to people all over the world, because you promote that. You promote being your best. You can be better. You can be smarter. You can learn more. You can be stronger. You can be wiser. All of that. It's the same thing with guys like Jordan Peterson. I think so much of his success is it's like, look, you've got this potential. You can do this, man,
Yes.
And that's the same message I've always tried to put out through my music and everything that I do. I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people. So, and I think it's so necessary right now. It's so necessary. People are just floundering or spinning their wheels and just directionless. And it's sad to see. And it's just like, we can all do so much more.
It is sad to see, but there's also a light at the end of the tunnel. because there's people like you out there. There's people that are searching to improve themselves, and they're honest about where they are right now, and they're honest about their failings and shortcomings, and they're also telling other people about it, which I think is so important, because if someone sees you and you're a guy who's on the radio or television, or maybe you're a rap star and you're killing it, they assume, oh, this guy's he just is there. He's just a winner. He's just there. And then, you could tell people about your trials and tribulations, about your failings and shortcomings, about your thoughts and insecurities, about all the things that tripped you up and all the things that you learned that allowed you to advance and to be a better person.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, like all the time, every day. It's about learning how to be a better person. And there's no finish line. Even the fucking Dalai Lama, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but he got canceled recently. Did you know the Dalai Lama got canceled?
Oh, yeah, he said some slightly sexist stuff. He said
He's a fucking 80-year-old man who was picked to be the Dalai Lama.
Said if it was going to be a female, they need to be attractive, because no one wants to look.
Dude,
no one wants to look at an ugly face or something.
No one wants to look at this face. He makes an ugly face. Like, dude, he's an 80-year-old human being. That's what he is, and he's also a guy who's never had a real job. He's never had to perform, and there's a lot of people out there that can do better, and they know they can do better, and they just lack the tools and they lack the understanding. And I think a person like yourself, or hopefully me, and certainly a lot of the people that I've had on the podcast, they can give people an example.
Yeah.
And they can say, oh, this guy used to be a loser, and he figured out how to not be.
Yeah.
I can, like, you look at Goggins. He used to be 300 pounds of fat and eating milkshakes, and then he became this fucking maniac who runs 100-mile races day after day.
Yeah.
You can do something extraordinary with your life, and you don't have to be the guy who pushes himself physically till you're almost dead, and you don't have to be the guy that writes the most books. But you could find your thing, whatever your thing is, whether it's just being a better father or a husband or a friend, or a bit better at your job or better at your craft, whatever it is, man. We can all be better.
Yeah.
We can all be better.
And that's how you make society better, the world better, right?
That's it. Zuby, you're a good man. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it,
Thanks
Joe.
for being
Thank you
here.
so much, man.
And everybody, this is available.
Yeah, Perseverance, my new album.
It's available right now.
It's available
everywhere.
right now. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, everywhere.
Your podcast also.
Real Talk with Zuby is out right now.
Zuby. I'm a subscriber.
And
you
my
all
book,
saw.
Strong Advice, you can get that at jointeamzuby.com.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you,
it,
man.
bro. Thanks
for being here. Bye, everybody.